fuck it, I'm gonna be a barbarian.
Barbarian.
That was really fast. Are you gonna multi-class into bard? Are you gonna be a
the bardic
bard,
barbarian.
barbarian?
Barbarian. Sing while you slaughter people.
Yes.
Make drums from the skulls of your enemies.
Yes.
Barbarian
I
style.
can see like a barbarian bard. You just like
Yeah.
just singing like bar
just-
songs.
Oh, yeah.
Scald.
Murdering-
Skull.
murdering
Yeah.
people.
Murder! Yay, we're alive. Hello, everybody.
Pathfinder literally just added the skull class to the game.
Oh, really?
It's a book. Yeah. It is an explicit hybrid of barbarian and bard.
I was just
There
thinking
you
of
go.
axe that has the I don't think it's
Yeah,
called the
yeah,
skull,
yeah.
but it's
It totally
similar.
does. The bard and axe is just like a warrior instead of a Ponzi spellcaster.
True.
Like me in real life.
I'm bard.
You're very poncy.
I'm a Ponzi spellcaster.
You're also paunchy.
I am paunchy.
Oh.
Ever since I started working a desk job.
Yeah, I've noticed that as well. You know, once
Yeah.
I started working here as a desk jockey,
Yeah.
most of the time it's like, oh, suddenly the fact that I love burgers is much more apparent.
They call me the desk hurricane.
And there's burgers right
Actually.
near you. That's the problem too.
Right.
It was
Yeah.
a lot easier to be
So-
in shape when I was moving boxes around in a warehouse.
I have a question.
You
Should
guys-
I be rolling my ability scores with
Oh, yeah.
green lucky dice
Okay, green
as
dice.
2 of them, and then like 2 unlucky dice,
Yes. So,
or story dice from?
thanks everybody that's tuning in right now. We are... Yeah, definitely the story dice.
Yeah.
I have an ore for strength. What is that? What's the modifier on ore?
I've got a large butt
Oh, I like that.
for
Huge butt.
charisma.
Huge booty. So, we're the Escapist, and we're playing Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition.
Hey,
Um,
everybody.
Hello. Oh, wait, where's the camera? There's the camera.
I'm Jon Bolding, right here, the Dungeon Master. I've got Justin Clouse with me today,
Hey, everybody.
and Greg Tito,
Hello.
and Paul Goodman.
Greetings.
And since we wrapped up our adventure that we were playing last week, we are looking at making new characters. So,
what was the treasure we got too?
sweet ass treasure that your new characters don't have.
Specifically.
Well,
Yeah, I know.
either.
Because we now have, unlike when we started the other game, we have access to the full player's handbook. We have the first adventure and the monster manual. So we're going to be playing through some of that stuff
Well,
instead of the kind of pre-made content that we had before.
you should give treasure to our old characters so we can find them in this version of the world and go
Dead.
beat them up
And go steal
take
them.
their stuff.
Yes.
I'm
a
going
good
to
point.
put them in a dungeon dead, I think. I think it'll be awesome.
What do you guys think? Good
They'll have
idea.
all their loot.
Bad idea? Probably.
Oh, poor balls.
They're going to say that's a great idea just
our
because they want to see.
follower
They really
Mutantar
are.
Paul's
wants to
sad.
know if you use your big butt to charm people by twerking.
Yes. Yeah, I will
Uh,
be making a twerking dancer.
Is that the what is
Twerk
it?
it.
Somatic component of the spell?
The twerks. It is.
Yeah, exactly.
For
So
the
when
most
my
powerful
butt is
spells,
bound,
you
I
have,
can't do
you have to
it.
do the thing where you like drop onto your hands and put some feet up against the wall and do like the full-on twerk. Yeah, like meteor swarm right there.
All this sounds like a wonderful plan.
So,
Amazing.
I will give you so much
I don't want to be a
money
part
if
of
you-
this conversation anymore.
If
are you
you
sure?
roleplay
It's
that-
getting better.
If you roleplay that, John should give you bonus XP. You literally just
If you can actually twerk.
You now have inspiration.
Yeah, I'll give you.
I don't.
I don't know what I'll give you, but I'll give you.
The inspiration is to end the fight so he stops twerking.
Yeah.
I've been inspired for this to stop. So we're going to be playing through Hoard of the Dragon Queen, which is the first adventure released for 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. To do so, we're going to make characters that fit the world we're going into, which is the Forgotten Realms.
Yep.
Over the course of Hoard of the Dragon Queen, you will fight to stop the evil servants of Tiamat, Queen of Dragons, in their mysterious plot.
Is it really pronounced Tiamat?
Tiamat.
I always thought it was Tiamat.
Either
personally.
one.
Tiamat,
Yeah.
Tiamat.
I think it's an either one. I
Is
think
it
it's an ancient Babylonian word, so no one knows how to pronounce
No,
it.
okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Except for Ed Greenwood.
I'm sure Ed Greenwood has the Ed Greenwood trademark way of saying it.
Pronunciation.
Yeah.
Pronunciation.
Pronunciation guide.
I hear it's Elminster, not Elminster, like as many people believe. Yeah.
I always thought it was Elminster. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I remember having a really, really, really hardcore argument with a guy in like the 8th grade that it was pronounced drow, not dro,
Oh, yeah. I had that
Yeah.
argument with many people too.
for a long time.
Yeah.
A lot of people were incredibly ignorant
That's
and
the,
believed
that's
that to
the
be true.
fun / horror of playing in fantasy gaming and just being a fan of fantasy in general is that you actually have no idea how to pronounce the words that you
Thank
read.
God for the internet where they can tell you. how
And
to
so
do
when
these
you
things.
first have that conversation with someone who, like in real life, you're like, I really liked Frodo.
Yeah.
Baggin,
that's not
that's
so
an easier
bad.
one, but
Frodo
Like
Baggins.
the other ones
Baggins.
where you're just like reading like country names, and it's like a consonant, and we bought a lot of vowels this week, so
and an
there's
apostrophe.
You mean
a bunch
ended
of
up in there
Y's.
somewhere.
You're just like,
yeah.
there's so many times when reading, like I just don't even.
You don't ever say it out loud, right? You just
No, like
Yeah.
you just your brain physically recognizes like this is a word.
Yep.
I know what this word is associated with in this book,
Absolutely.
but like at no point am I thinking about what this word actually sounds
I
like.
completely agree. For those of you who don't read fantasy novels and want to have this experience in the real world, look at Iceland.
I remember what was it
What was
like
that
a year or
volcano?
two ago when
Yeah.
the volcano.
Yeah. Either Kadr Fjordr was the
That's-
name of that volcano.
Yeah.
Really, that's
Yeah.
that. I am impressed you remembered how to pronounce that.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I actually went to Reykjavik that I knew how to say Reykjavik. It was always like
Reykjavik.
Just hold up a sign. I'm here. My hotel is here. Just take me there. I don't know where.
Please
I
God.
It's also very similar to actors' names sometimes for me, like
Yeah.
Matthew McConaughey. Hey, I still can't really pronounce.
Liam Neeson.
Liam
Yeah.
Neeson, yeah.
I believe
He's
that
a
was the
liam.
longest.
A dirty, dirty liam.
Yeah.
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 But yeah, back to
Shown Canary
Yeah.
has always been a hard one for me as well.
So we're entering
Back to
Forgotten
D&D.
Realms is an area where I'm not really sure. I
It's
know
true.
a lot about.
I think the great thing about this for all four of us is that none of the four of us know a lot about the Forgotten Realms.
I
So
know a bit.
Yeah, I've like a bit.
You're all right. You're
We're all like a
down.
bit.
I remember reading.
So,
a
I mean, like,
From
Forgotten
Baldur's
Realms
Gate.
Baldur's Gate is in Forgotten
Right.
Realms. You know, like many
Yes.
children in the 90s, I read a lot of the R.A. Salvatore novels.
Right.
So-
Right. I definitely played through Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, which is most of my experience. But that the crazy thing is, from then to now is like over 1,000 years, right? So we're a long time later. And in fact, I think one of the crazy things is some of the gods that were officially dead.
Yeah,
are
and there
back.
was a whole spell
they're
plague
back now.
thing.
So
and-
Bane is back, like the god
Oh,
of
no way.
the god of murder is a god again, right? He remanifested when the god of magic came back.
That's the only knowledge that I have of the Forgotten Realms was I read the Avatar series.
Yeah.
where Bane was killed.
I've read the Avatar series. That's all I've read.
That's
as
all
well.
I've read.
Yeah.
And then was it Cyril who was a character in there who got
Cyric.
Cyric who got
Yeah.
promoted to
Right.
all these.
He got a bunch of.
He basically got every bad evil god that was killed.
He
through
got
the
all
course of the
their- he
series.
got all
He's
their
like,
powers.
Oh, these are my portfolios now. So what happened to him? Is he still around?
A lot of these guys are back, and they got their old powers back too.
So Bane
they're
is
back
back,
to
but is-
feuding about.
Is Cyric not?
Cyric is back, but he's the god of whatever he was the god of before he got to be god of murder.
So this Bane guy, does he talk funny?
Does he have a
Yeah.
mask? Is he a luchador?
Tell me, Paul, do you feel like you're in control? No, you don't.
This thing with the
You
cat.
can't just
video.
have Banes back and forth.
No,
Everyone's
no.
doing the Bane.
No.
Someone has to be somebody else. So we'll be playing this in the Forgotten Realms. The action takes place along the Sword Coast, which is the area of the world that most gamers will be familiar with. It's the place of cities like Baldur's Gate, Waterdeep, and Neverwinter. All video gamers will know these cities for the
Oh,
most
yeah.
part. Maybe not Waterdeep, then maybe a little more esoteric.
Waterdeep.
But you know where these
But
places
certainly you know
are.
Waterdeep, like if you play the board game. Waterdeep.
That's very true. Lords of Waterdeep,
Yeah.
which is a awesome board game. Lots
And
of
you get the
people play
basic
at this
idea. It's
point.
like a mercantile town.
It is. It's a very powerful mercantile town controlled by a council of nobles. And Baldur's Gate is also a mercantile city and has lots of arcane, bizarre rules and powerful wizards. Whereas Waterdeep threw off those shackles a long time ago and is no longer ruled by wizards. So to get us started off, I think we just want to talk about where the campaign will go over the course of it. This is a kind of a rollicking adventure. It will move over large stretches of territory, sometimes rapidly and sometimes not. So characters that are too thoroughly grounded in one place, that's where their motivation comes from, might not end up being too appropriate. There's a certain amount of wanderlust involved here,
Yeah.
right?
You need somebody that is not like, I'm a member of this thieves guild in a town.
Right.
And it's like, well, we need to go halfway across the continent now.
It's
So
part of the exchange program with Thieves Guild on the other side of the continent.
the Thieves Guild exchange program.
Exactly.
That's
You
true.
gotta learn new
Yeah.
thieving techniques. What better way than to do a thieving exchange program?
Or if he was just kicked out of the Thieves Guild. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Or they're
All
looking
kinds
to,
of good stuff like that.
or expanded their operations.
Definitely an option.
You know, like how the Russian mafia has been moving people over here for years.
Let's not make it political, man.
The other primary thing that I think I
I
have
saw
to
Boondock
share.
Saints the other day as a kid.
A well-known documentary of facts and true things.
Yeah, exactly. That movie is shows the importance of always having rope.
It's also
it does actually.
as factual as Shark Week. So it's
That's
got that
true.
going for it.
Exactly as factual as Shark Week. They should market that movie that way now. So, I think we should talk about who do you want to be? What character classes do you want to play? How do we balance the party?
Justin, you go first. I think you have the one who's got the clearest view.
So I have a very clear view of a kind of character that I think would be useful for the party, and that would be a cleric, obviously because we need healing, but in the war domain so that like we have a little bit more hybrid going on. So like somebody that can kind of tangle in the front lines, but still can still bring the healing that we need to the party. But I've talked a lot, like one of my favorite things to do with tabletop games these days is just be the not the odd man out, but the person that is adaptable. Some of my favorite characters in recent years are characters that I've played based purely on roles or based purely on what the party needed. So I'm always willing to play, if Tito and Paul both have, roll something or, have really great ideas for characters, I'm happy to fill in.
Just twist around.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do like that too, like the make this more of an improvisation exercise.
Absolutely,
than, preconceived character, designs that we want to bring forth, because almost always those designs, once they're touched with the game or the DM or the group, go to crap,
I completely agree.
And have to be changed and adapted. In many ways, the first session or the first level is where the character really gets created.
Right.
Anyway. So I'm cool with that as well.
But yeah, from a gameplay aspect, and I mean, I'm never going to get away from my desire to, metagame the gameplay aspect. I think we probably should stick with more like hybridized characters, just because we only have 3 people.
Yeah.
And so everybody should probably have like a main role and kind of a secondary role.
On the subject of only having 3 people, there may be a mysterious 4th character that joins us for the first session.
Okay.
Dun.
Just a hint.
Might happen. We have to get the other microphone.
We'll have to get the other microphone.
And then
this is very important.
But yeah, we've been debating how to, maybe add another person, but without necessarily changing up the group dynamics that much. It also makes it a little bit easier if somebody's out for a week.
Absolutely. I don't think you have to worry too much for now about the party role of your mysterious 4th member.
Okay.
I think you all should work to your own satisfaction.
Right.
It's worth noting that the 3 of you will know each other at the start of the campaign.
Okay.
You will have been hired as a unit to guard a caravan moving through the large open rolling plains south of Baldur's Gate.
Okay. Similar to the starter set.
Similar to the opening of the starter set, actually. Yeah. Except this is a big group of 50 or so wagons with nobles and merchants.
Mm-hmm.
And
would it be possible to play
very
one of the
valuable
nobles and
goods.
Merchants?
Certainly, yeah. That makes perfect sense to me.
So what you're saying is caravans are the new taverns.
Caravans are my favorite version of the tavern. Turns out that
you all meet in a bar.
While caravanning in ancient days, there was not that much more to do than drink. So
it's like you have to get to know everybody.
Yeah.
Like, who are you? What's your life story?
Yeah. And the whole point of caravanning was the fact that like traveling by yourself was suicide.
Both awful and boring.
Right.
It's like
especially in a world with
monsters,
flying monsters,
like dragons.
Many of those,
like for example, dragons. Not saying there's going to be any dragons, but
there may be some dragons.
I'm not going to lie to you.
We also did really good, I think, during the starter set by having the clear Holy Trinity too.
Yeah.
Having a mage that was able to deal damage and AoE damage, as well as a fighter who was able to take kind of the brunt, and the cleric who could do some fighting, but then also be a really strong healer. Like that
I would
really
say
well we were lacking, I think, skills of a thief.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree.
Or the tracking skills a ranger could bring to it, or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But as far as
we can also
we're pretty good.
We'll be able to pick our skills this time, so we can maybe fill in some gaps a little bit easier,
right?
And like avoid where we had just a bunch of people all having the same thing.
True.
But yeah, I think I agree with you. Like a strong like fighter type, and then some kind of spellcaster, and then probably another just somebody else who can also mix it up in melee.
I'll also drop the hint that while if the entire party was channeled into sheer power and brute force, you might be able to make it
3 barbarians
through this thing.
Just constantly rage.
But having a good array of skills based around intrigue and subterfuge and simply talking out problems is going to serve you very well.
Mm-hmm.
There very well may be sequences that see your characters choosing to infiltrate or join with a group that you don't necessarily agree with, as well as a lot of unlikely allies to be gained.
All right. And I really enjoyed playing that type of character kind of by happenstance.
You did
in the starter set.
You didn't have the skills for it at all, but you just kind of lucked into it.
Yeah, so I wouldn't mind, and that's why I've been looking at the Bard class kind of as someone who has a charismatic skills set, leadership abilities to speak to diplomatic situations a lot more, while also having hopefully a decent spellcasting ability and other things to support just the actual fights as well. And I haven't actually read in close comparison of the Bard versus the other spellcasters, but you seem to think that they have a boost as opposed to other editions.
I think the Bard could certainly take the spellcaster role in any party, or the hybrid role of being able to fight and both fight and cast spells.
I would hate to lose, from our starter set experience, having that, we had that big fight with, the black spider.
Yeah.
And just the ability to be like, I'm taking that spider out of the fight now is just something that I think we still probably really want on some level.
Sure. And according to let me just look at this, the actual spell slots that the Bard has. This is where I wish we had a zoom in, you can check this out. If I can get to it. Are pretty high.
Yeah, the Bard has as many spellcasting slots as the Wizard.
Oh, okay.
Or a Cleric.
Yeah.
So
cantrips known to is a little bit less. Known spells, these are generally comparable. If not maybe just a level behind.
Okay.
As far as number of slots.
And do the Bards have their own spell list?
They do.
Okay.
So the Bard spell list is a little different, certainly, than a Wizard's.
Oh yeah.
It's not nearly as just straightforwardly destructive.
Yeah, they're just not gonna get
but I would
a fireball.
assume things like sleep and hold person and stuff would still be on there.
I think some of those control spells, if that's what
charms,
probably still be in there, but maybe the giant booms aren't going to be around.
Mm-hmm.
That maybe end up being the Cleric's job.
Okay. Or consumables will fill that role.
Absolutely.
Having making sure to buy spells. Oh, here, Bard spells. It looks like things like Fairy Fire.
Oh, so you also get Cure Wounds as well.
Right. The Bard retains its ability to cast healing spells.
That is great.
Yeah, I'm on board with the
invisibility knock.
I think having two characters capable of casting healing spells will serve you guys very well.
Silence.
Yeah. Sweet. I can
very
good
important.
Good old silence.
Yeah, which you, as in the starter set adventures, you basically wanted to have silence. But
I took it off my known spells for that day. It was I don't probably need this one. I can't remember what I took it.
Wah, wah.
And there was a very specific sequence where oh yeah, it would have been nice to silence that spellcaster.
So to be clear, things like Fireball and Magic Missile are not on here. So full on damage is out unless it's from a wand or
what
kind of ranged weapons can the Bard use?
Good question.
The Bard can almost certainly use bows, at the very least.
Because that would be the one thing we may be
bows
lacking.
Or crossbows.
Well, unless he does the Ranger.
Yeah, I was looking at the Ranger.
Considering the Ranger. Considering the Ranger as a ranged combatant?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why not?
The Ranger is pretty potent. That's more spellcasting. That's 3 spellcasting characters if Paul decides to play a Ranger.
Yeah, the problem is then we're really lacking people to stand in front and fight things.
I could make a longsword Ranger then.
Both options.
Hand crossbows looks like is all the Bard can do.
Okay.
Which are just a simple...
Yeah, the little
only D4, I believe, of damage. Which may not be
unless you
ideal.
took a feat at some point.
Yes, unless I kitted them out to be expected like that.
It's possible the martially oriented Bard gets more weapons than just those.
Although I guess strangely enough, so
But that doesn't start until
the
third level.
Cleric of War gets all martial weapons.
Yes, the Cleric of War
so
has
could just have
bows
a bow.
and crossbows.
Yeah,
certainly.
It seems a little weird for.
Well, if you're an elven,
we're not
cleric,
we're on an elf.
Why not?
No elves.
Oh man,
Justin doesn't believe in elves.
So
I have an elf.
I went through Paul's phase that he's in right now, where it's always wanting to make like the Elven Rangers, and I just burned myself out of them. I just never want to play that character, class and type again.
Wait, how does that even happen?
What's that?
How does that even happen? Ari Salvatore's been doing it for 20 years. Still likes Elven Rangers.
He's totally burned out.
That's the best D&D joke I'm going to make all day.
Yeah.
Hi, Jim.
I might do an Elven bard then, because damn it, I like elves. And I don't care whether or not you like them or not.
Elves is.
But we shall see. How does the ability score rolling work?
So,
yeah,
here's the question.
That's gonna right.
Are we gonna do standard ability scores? Or are you guys gonna leave it up to the luck of the dice?
Well, I assume it's roll 4, take the lowest one out.
It's roll 4, take the
Not
lowest.
luck of the dice. Oh, wait, 4 die? Okay,
It's roll 4, drop the lowest.
And then do you keep them in order, or you're able to
6 times.
assign?
You assign them as you please. That may well end up with somebody having a pretty bad character. Always hilarious.
Hey, we'll roleplay it.
So if you guys want to go for it, let's just roll ability scores.
All right, I'll do it.
Let's do it.
All right.
All right, how many times? Just once?
6. 46 drop lowest 6 times in a row.
Yeah.
That's what I was asking. Like,
Yes.
You get one array.
One set. Okay,
Yep.
one array. That's, yeah.
All right, I'll do it in the camera because I have the clearest thing.
Well, that one's pretty good.
Oh,
That
And
off right.
there's a
Wow.
5.
That's
Nice, Tito.
Starting off good.
You're going to be bad at something.
something is gonna be
God, I
really-
Lower is better, right?
I hope
this
it's
is like
wisdom.
golf. That's also horrible. 8.
Yeah, you should
that character may just need to be scrapped.
maybe
We
want
shall
to
see.
maybe want to ditch those
Lucky
horrifying
die.
lucky dice. Quote lucky dice. A
That
9.
is a 9.
This is rapidly going down the character who gets killed in the first adventure route, isn't it?
Hey, 10.
Wow.
Really?
My highest score is a 13 right now. This is bullshit.
Okay, so
Yeah,
I'm
I really feel
17,
your pain
13,
there.
9 so far.
Oh, wait, no, that's 13. Never mind, that's a 13.
Oh, finally. 17. One
All
score,
right,
that's
one more.
17.
Oh, hey, that's not 14.
So 14.
Oh, hey. Oh,
Oh, wait, that's not
really
good.
amazing.
All right.
And 16. Okay.
So 5, 8, 9, 10, 13, 14.
That's almost unplayable.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is there a scrap rule for rolled characters?
I mean, it's DM's discretion, really.
Yeah, I mean, I think my scrap rule has classically been if you scrap them all.
Oh, yeah, you don't just scrap
Right.
one stat. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
So apparently I'm the only one in this party that can actually roll decently. 17, 13, 9, 14, 15, 16.
Holy
Do you think that has
shnikes.
anything to do with yourself personally, or just kind of happened that way?
I mean,
I'm
How
just being
does
clear
random-
on how you actually
Oh, it
think
wasn't
dice
a
work.
skill in rolling.
I believe in my fireball dice.
Okay.
/ loaded dice?
Okay.
They, you know.
They're not loaded
But-
so much
but I
as
roll a
slightly deformed
Hey,
manner.
Only half of them are loaded.
Yeah.
What do you guys in the chat think? Should I keep
Yeah.
a 5, 8, 9, 10, 13, 14 character?
I'm going to go with no.
Chat, I don't think you should let him do that.
I think that because that's what, like only 2 plus 1s?
it's 2 plus
Yeah,
1s.
2 plus 1s.
Yeah.
And what's a 5? A negative?
It's probably a -3, I think. Because the lowest you can roll is a
It is.
3.
It is.
You've got the player's handbook right underneath you.
I do not. You look it up. 'Cause I'm gonna start
It-
rolling. I
it's a
think.
negative 2, I think.
People are saying okay, so one vote for reroll, another vote for don't do it,
Don't do it.
another vote for scrap.
Yeah,
Scrap-
5 is a negative
Scrapped
3.
it is.
A -3. Well, clearly that would be my charisma score.
Oh, Jesus.
Very uncharismatic
All right.
bard.
I have -1 uses of my bardic
My lucky
inspiration
dice
per
are
day.
no longer lucky, so I'm gonna go with different dice, which
There's no way that ends well.
I don't normally
Jim
do.
says reroll. Listen to Jim. Jim
Yeah.
is the voice of reason.
Yeah, I
Jim
think
says
you guys are
The
right.
majority of votes think you should.
I just
reroll
want to
that.
make sure that there was no, dissension among
Roll
the ranks.
66. That's even worse.
I hope you guys can all see that
That was
on the
an
dice
8.
cam.
That was an 8.
It was
You
a
guys
6 and
3
3
ones.
That's better.
All right, that's a little
Moderately better. 13.
not objectively terrible.
We're already off to a better start.
Still not good.
An 11.
Wow.
Alright, so we're doing okay.
There you go.
Hey, 14.
That's a
No, wait,
16.
16.
That's a 16.
I can add.
Yeah.
Yep.
Adding is one of my strongest.
Addition.
We're word guys.
Jim says the only reason you should keep the previous
12.
set is if you go with a -3 charisma bard.
Yeah. That would
Because that would be amazing.
Just
I
the
actually
worst
think
bard
that'd be
ever.
a good shtick, but only if you plan on playing it during the first adventure, because we'll have you play music in a tavern and get stoned. Just get killed in the town.
No.
So that's better. I got an 8, 13, 11, 16, 12, 50.
That's great.
I think that's a keeper.
That's a
that's a
playable
great
character.
set.
That's a keeper. All right.
Paul, what you got?
I have a 13, 11, 13, 9, 17, and 16.
You're keeping those. Those are pretty
Yeah,
good.
I say it got a little better towards the end. I mean, at first I was like, great, I am making the most average character in the planet.
Average Joe.
Average Joe.
King of the average people. Paul, what are you thinking about playing?
Well, I would like to play a ranger, but like I'm being talked out of it by other
No.
people in the group. So.
No, I absolutely said before that like my disdain for the ranger is based on past experiences.
I've played a
Cleric
ranger
Pants
in
can
Path.
tank.
What was that?
Mr. Cleric Pants can tank.
Okay, because
Make
I
Justin
just
tank.
I would like to be. I played a ranger in Pathfinder. I want to see how ranger in this opens up.
Excellent.
Do rangers
You know,
get
my
an animal
only-
companion?
They may get an animal companion.
Oh,
There
that's
are
their-
2 available paths.
Their path down the
I
line.
am interested in that.
So that might be something that
I would like a giant bear that I can name Fluffy, and then say Fluffy, kill, and then he eats somebody.
if the rolls are
that
there.
that
yes.
might work.
It's a bear. The rolls will be awesome.
Strength.
certainly is a
Dex.
Okay, I would like an alligator
Calm.
named Fluffy.
Yes.
Alligator, kill.
Wisdom.
And then he
into
goes
this.
forward and
Charisma.
bites into someone, and then just walks to the nearest body of water.
I like this because
even though it's far away.
I'm already imagining the plot line where someone kills your alligator and turns it into boots.
And then that person becomes my next
Aw.
favorite enemy, my next level.
Yeah,
And
Very
then
nice.
not just that specific person.
I'm just saying I think it would be awesome.
So then I get all my bonus rolls to tracking that specific person.
All right, so I guess if I'm gonna have to be in the front, we may be throwing that 17 into con.
that is not a bad idea.
You may want to throw it into wisdom or strength.
Yeah. See, what are the
So you can punch people in the face.
Yeah,
Strength.
we'll have to see.
Dex?
Well, I guess we
So,
also need to decide what race we want to be,
character
because that's gonna
sheets.
decide. That's gonna change those ability
So-
scores.
It is going to change those ability scores.
It really is.
Here you go, Tito.
Thank you, sir.
And Paul.
I'll pass it down. Just like my IQ is normal.
Speaking of Forgotten Realms,
Oh,
is there anything that is
Little genius quote.
particularly?
You're going to keep that one? That's the cursed one that I was saving for Paul.
I'm already cursed.
Is there anything that's out of maybe
the
not out of
question
play,
for the
but like
Forgotten
very
Realms?
weird for the Forgotten
Uh,
Realms?
Dragonborn?
I think Dragonborn or Tieflings would be odd for this
Maybe the-
area of the world in the Forgotten Realms.
Let's see what.
Tieflings maybe is more realistic, given that they dwell to the south of here, fairly far away. But Dragonborn are
right
very
now.
far away. Gnomes actually would be a little strange. All the classic races fit quite well
Mm.
at this point.
No one's playing a drow, right?
Drow are thoroughly evil in this part of the world.
I'm gonna play an elf. I'll probably be just human or something.
So
It's half elves, right?
a drow is not to be trusted. Plus, the majority of this campaign will take place above ground,
Okay.
which is a huge disadvantage when
For
you're
those who
literally
are-
blinded by sunlight.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's rough.
Oh, they not even have the third edition feat where it was like
no,
you got
they
used
do-
to
They
it.
do not have that. In fact, you don't get used to it.
You never
Too
always-
bad.
You always have malformed underground elf eyes.
Could be a half orc.
Yeah, it's very realistic.
Really?
Yeah.
Orc
With a
ranger.
bear.
There's a lot of orcs to the east and north of here.
Hmm.
Do they hang out in woods?
No.
How
But
do the
you don't
Forgotten
have to.
Realms kind of judge half orcs?
It is relatively uncommon, if that makes sense.
Mm.
But in the same way that even creatures as obnoxious as halflings can find acceptance and love in human cities, half orcs can also get away with it.
Dragonborn.
Really tempted to make a halfling bard. Just throwing that out there.
I promise not to judge you.
But we will secretly judge you.
But as
That's
we,
fine.
As we all know, hippogriffs find halflings to be delicious bite-sized snacks.
I am
Mm.
worth your derision. And playing a halfling might be worth it as
I
well.
accept this.
Yeah. But we shall see.
I'm going to be human.
I don't know. Maybe
not?
I might go against type and not do an elf because I
Human
almost
ranger.
always play a elf.
Hell,
And elf.
Play
We
half.
put these together.
You could go.
Cool.
You could kind of like make it part of the way and play some kind of half elf.
Which is what he said earlier was to be a half elf, but I don't know. I feel like you need to have a specific, background
in mind for a half elf.
For a half elf, and I don't necessarily. I mean, I could create one, but
right, absolutely. I can already see Justin looking at dwarf. Just like dwarf is the only race that's worth playing.
No,
for a war priest, that's for sure.
I'm looking at some other.
But I guess you could also make the point that half elves historically were known as the diplomatic race too.
It's true
because they were able to
absolutely
bridge both human and elf civilization.
Yeah,
sometimes outcasts as well.
Right, that is their place in the Forgotten Realms. In fact, the kind of classic archetype
of
the bridge between the civilizations.
Okay, so they do act as go-betweens.
Yeah, ambassadors, go-betweens, and advisors and things like that.
Interesting, diplomats.
Yeah. So a half-elf bard would be very appropriate.
Yeah, maybe I will do that.
Born for clerics. So you're a half-elf?
Thinking of that. Faux show. Racial traits.
My desire to want to mix up the party races is conflicting with my desire to just roll human because it pushes a lot of my ability scores into the next modifier bracket.
Well, there's no. I mean, yeah. If that is the best call for you, you should just play a human.
Well, I think sometimes humans get.
I think they do get derided.
I always play a human.
They do, but like it honestly can be better storytelling if you don't have.
I always play a human.
Kind of thing behind it
for that exact reason. And the cool thing about playing a human in an established setting like the Forgotten Realms is there are a lot of human cultures to be from. Right? It's not kind of the choice between I'm a gold dwarf or a mountain dwarf. You're some kind of other
human.
Half elf human from somewhere or another.
Hey, charisma score increases by 2. Hey.
Yeah, there you go.
That'll push me up to an 18.
That would make you a happy man.
That would make me a happy man.
All right, so I guess I'll go with a.
And is a 9 still a negative?
A 9, I believe, is a negative.
Yeah, actually.
Yeah, 9 is actually a negative. 10 is the
is the cutoff there.
10 and 11 are plus 0 ability.
Smart, less charismatic.
This is tough because I'm going to make my 17 my dex.
Okay.
Because I'm going to be human. That's going to be 18. But
okay.
I don't know what to make my next biggest score. It's a 16.
Well, I think that wisdom for your spellcasting is going to be important as a ranger.
True.
As is constitution for hit points and staying alive.
I think I'm going to go with constitution.
Then. Having a high con. I'm still putting the 18 in con. We need that.
More hit points is definitely not bad.
Strength may end up becoming useful to you depending on how you decide to fight in melee combat.
Yeah. I think you need to be prepared to fight in melee.
But if you're using a weapon like a rapier or something in melee combat,
that's right. You can just use
your dexterity modifier instead.
I will do that. All right. So I'm a human.
Okay. So all of your ability scores will increase by 1.
Okay. So
we got 2 humans and a half elf.
Seems like a good team to me.
Yeah. Seems like a decent team that would set out from a city attached to a caravan.
Absolutely.
All we need is a tavern, and we have the makings of a 90 sitcom.
It's true. It's true.
2 cheers? 2 guys, a girl, and a pizza place.
2
humans, a halfling, and a tavern. That's where I was going, Greg. It was pretty obscure, pretty long reference.
That was pretty obsure.
Yeah, it was.
But you know what? It made me laugh inside, and I don't care if anyone else.
Okay. Well, that seems worth it.
Does that seem worth it?
If it made you laugh on the
Well, it made me die inside.
Good.
Really?
Yeah, a little bit. Like I don't think I'm alive.
Yeah.
I might be undead. Is there an undead race that I can play?
Undead?
No.
The Forsaken?
Yeah, the Forsaken. Can I do that?
World of Warcraft?
No.
So this doesn't look too bad. So I'm looking at a Cleric of War with 16 Strength, 15 Dex, 18 Con, 10 Int, 17 Wisdom, and 14 Charisma.
And you're a human, right?
Oh, that is modified already.
Yeah. Okay.
Otherwise, those stats would be really, really good.
Yeah, for real. So pass me that player's handbook. Let's talk about what god your cleric worships.
That will be important.
Yes, it will. It'll probably come up.
The god of beating things up.
Well,
it's a pretty good god.
It's an okay god.
Is the spellcasting ability of the bard related to charisma or intelligence?
It's charisma.
It is related. Yes. So it's like a sorcerer.
Yeah.
Spellcasting.
Because it's how well you can convey your force of personality.
Is intelligence
into magical
still
music. if you want to be a smart bard, if you want to have the classic bardic lore available to you,
then
you want to have
investigation
good intelligence
and stuff like that. All right.
So, war gods of the Forgotten Realms. You're a human, so you've got a lot of choices available to you. Yeah. So there's the classics: Bane, god of tyranny.
Yep.
I don't think you want to do that.
So I guess that behooves another question that we need to talk about as a party. Do we want to have a general overall sense of what the party's alignment is?
So parties that lean neutral to good would be most appropriate.
Yeah.
An evil character has little reason to cooperate and play through the story of this adventure.
Even if you're trying to do like the kind of a semi-classic, like selfishly evil character, like just pure mercenary.
A lawful evil character could kind of carry through this and pull it off. And if someone wants to go there, I'm perfectly happy to facilitate it as long as they're, willing to work with the party and make sure the game keeps moving forward.
Right. As opposed to just, first night I stab you all in your sleep.
Stonewalling everything or what have you.
Eric Jacobson.
Server admin.
Yeah.
As far as
he played a really good, not quite evil character in our campaign.
That's true. Yeah. In another campaign.
Your other three choices are the three other war gods whose names all start with T, which is really funny to me.
They just want to be consistent.
Yeah, Tyr, who is god of justice, is a war god. His symbol is the balanced scales resting on a warhammer. There is Torm, who is the god of courage and self-sacrifice, who's a lawful good war god, whose symbol is the white gauntlet. And Tempest, god of war, who is the neutral war god. He's the kind of
Ares
war all the time Ares god, whose symbol is the flaming sword.
Probably Torm, or you said a Tempest was the last one?
Yeah, Tempest is the neutral war god.
Tempest. How do you spell that?
Tempus.
Tempus. Probably Torm or Tempest. Let's go with Tempest, actually.
Okay. Maybe Tempest, god of war, whose alignment is neutral, and
look at something like a lawful neutral character.
Yeah, his symbol is the upright flaming sword. A mercenary even might be appropriate.
Right, which is
for a cleric of Tempest.
You may be doing in a caravan.
Going where the war is. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, John and I, we talked about kind of a theater producer as a bard.
Yeah. I think that would be really interesting.
I think that is interesting too. Yeah. Like he's going on a trip to scout out new talent or something like that. And
or he wants to start a traveling show. I think would be interesting. Yeah. Something like that.
Exactly. You kind of gotten established. Where does it start in Waterdeep?
You'll be starting on the road north of Amon, basically. So you'll have passed up over the mountains onto the Sword Coast south of Baldur's Gate, and you'll be passing through the fields east of Baldur's Gate, trying to take some trade goods up away towards a trade city that's to the northeast. But spoilers, you won't arrive.
We'll be beset by bandits. Goblins, bandit goblins.
No spoilers
orcs.
On that front.
But
I can say that nothing you've guessed is true.
Dragon.
Always dragons.
Always dragons. All right, so yeah, maybe he's on a trip to scout out everything. Maybe establish just to know the road a little bit more that he that his traveling caravan circus show or whatever would be traveling upon.
Right.
But then he's also needs to travel in order to meet new cultures and find out what kind of shows would be appropriate for them. And
right.
Kind of stuff
Absolutely.
Too.
Yeah.
And he's got some experience, I think, in doing that. So that lends him to having the diplomacy skills of being able to speak to people,
which I think is all appropriate.
Yeah. Okay.
And I like the bard angle where he has studied magical music and kind of understands how to manipulate that for great effect.
And he's also a novice at it, though. Like he just kind of discovered and or noticed his talent, innate ability to manipulate people that he did in performances before, but didn't realize what he was doing. Like maybe he had cantrips of something that charmed his audiences.
Yeah, I like that.
Didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah, certainly.
But has now discovered it.
Cool.
Is there like a wizard or someone traveling with the caravan, which
there could be
a friend of his or something?
Need something like that. It can certainly happen.
That has helped him in his studies.
Friendly wizard.
Yeah, I will.
Wizards aren't friendly.
Maybe one.
That character doesn't exist.
Elminster.
I'll make it exist.
Nice. Does he have big gray beard?
Jimbo the Wizard.
Jimbo.
There are those that call me Jimbo.
That's true. What about you, Human Ranger Man?
Well, I'm just looking to right some wrongs.
All right. For justice
Justice.
and stuff.
Righting the outlaw wrongs. The frontier.
Oh, you're kind of a bounty hunter.
Sure.
I like that idea.
Let's go with
That's
that.
neat.
That's a very appropriate task for this area of the world. There is a lot of open space and not a lot of people who live in it.
Righting the outlaw wrongs of the realms.
Are you
Sheriff
playing
Dan?
Clint Eastwood?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
I'm gonna need to know if there are any ponchos in this game.
There are definitely ponchos now. So
Windmills, right? Windmills.
yes.
Yes.
Why do you need a windmill? I
I
didn't
don't
get
know.
that reference.
I was going on the Don Quixote.
Oh,
in my brain.
Sancho Panza.
Yes.
Like I see that word association.
You see that going
Going
there?
down,
I got
yeah.
the image, the
Yeah.
The
No, I'm
stick
in.
figure, yeah.
I'm in.
yeah. So we'll meet him at some point.
Yes,
right?
certainly.
Okay.
So the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah.
So wait, who's good, who's bad, and who's ugly?
Well, clearly I'm good.
What's,
I'll be doing chaotic.
What's
good,
your charisma, Paul?
10.
All right, we figured it out. I've got a 14.
You're the ugly Paul.
Grizzle. I prefer Grizzle.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've been writing the outlaw wrongs for a
Sure.
long
I'm
time.
sure the ugly did too.
From the grizzly bear.
That's not
you
what they
bed
named.
down with
That's
every
what
night.
they named him in the movie.
Is that why you're grizzled?
That's rough. That's too bad.
Quit insinuating that my character had sex with animals.
Great.
Just don't sleep
So
with them.
now that we have an idea
You
of
cuddle with them.
Quit insinuating my
Alright.
character sleeps with animals.
You're not a furry.
Quit insinuating my character is a furry.
all right,
Furries aren't even a thing in this universe.
or are they?
What do
Or-
I look? Do I look like a druid to you? With my wild shape form.
All I'm saying is you look grizzled.
All
And
right.
I would like to have you in my show.
Now that we have an idea of what kind of characters you are and what you do, I think we'll go into kind of individual character creation.
Okay.
Step through who's making what character as we do it, and go for that. So if one of you guys wants to step up first,
Sure. Paul's got the book.
Paul
Okay.
it is. Okay.
That seems like as good a reason as any.
All right.
If you're just joining us, we're the Escapist, and we are live. We've been live streaming our Dungeons and Dragons 5th Edition games. We finished one campaign last week, and we're starting up a new one this week. And we're kicking off with character creation, just because we think a lot of people have never seen how this works or what goes into it. So we are doing that. Greg and Justin, you guys can take a break as you please. Go hang out, get a glass of water, and Paul's gonna make his character.
I'm gonna make my character.
Yeah. Are you excited about that?
Yep.
Are you gonna do it in character?
Sure.
Don't do it in
The
character.
whole
He's
time.
gonna be doing just one word answers the whole time.
Yep.
My personality
Sure.
trait is
Charisma. I've got a lot of charisma.
I have a hell of a lot of charisma,
I do.
and I eat
I'm
a lot
charismatic.
of churros.
I get what needs to be done.
I get your churros reference.
I get what needs.
I
to
understood
be
that
done.
reference. I did. I got that.
So you filled in all your ability scores, Paul.
No, I have. I don't.
All right, let's do it. What are you thinking about for ability scores?
Well, 14 for strength,
Okay.
18 for dex,
Okay.
17 for con,
Okay.
12 for intelligence,
Okay.
14 for wisdom, and then 10 for charisma.
10 for
I
Alright,
figure
sweet.
wisdom I will put
You're in a pretty good place.
bonus points into when I reach that particular level.
Yeah,
Because at that point I probably will have more spells that I would
it's true.
want to.
Yeah, that's one of the interesting things about 5th is that they don't have you basically get a choice at certain levels of like whether or not you want a feat that lets you do something like cool and unique, or like you just want to buff up your ability scores.
And that comes around a lot. Ability scores in 5th are generally going to be higher than in other editions, just because of how that shakes out. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Your default choice is the ability score increase, unless you opt out of it and get the feat instead.
Yeah.
You're gonna, but there's a cap in the way there was never an ability score cap in other editions. Now it solidly is. You cannot have an ability score higher than 20.
Mm-hmm. It's just like you are a mortal
Right.
on this realm. Like you just aren't a god. You aren't a giant monster.
Unless you're a level 20 barbarian, in which case you can have a strength of 24.
Ooh,
because you're a barbarian.
Because you're good at being angry at things.
Barbarians.
So
what can
much
you do?
rage.
You've never been madder.
My parents never loved me. Smash.
Yeah. That's what barbarian societies are predicated on, is the idea that your parents didn't love you and therefore
the world must suffer for it.
Pretty much.
They get away with that. They do.
Cool.
We should punish them for it.
We should.
Yeah.
We're gonna take away all their feats.
When I was a wee little barbarian, my barbarian dad.
Someone play Batbarian.
Didn't
My
give
parents are dead.
My parents died. A dragon killed my parents. He was white with purple lipstick, and he laughed a lot.
No
Someone
way, Paul.
Photoshop me a Heath Ledger Joker white dragon right now.
Too soon, man.
That's also only the movie canon.
That's
not
movie canon.
That's not how it actually works in the comic books.
Uh-oh.
Or the TV show.
It's only the Michael Crichton version
Okay,
of Batman.
fine. He and his parents were coming out of a play at the local
Keaton,
tavern.
Keaton, Crichton.
He's writing Jurassic
close
Park.
enough.
Yeah, I was like Jurassic Park wrote Batman novels. Full disclosure. All right.
It's sort of like those.
So back to your
Back
ranger.
to my thing. Yeah.
How's your ranger doing?
All right.
I don't know. I'm
Pass me that player's handbook.
Yeah, I want to.
Saving throw and dexterity on my saving throws.
Yeah, so you'll get trained in a couple saving throws.
So do I add my thing to that?
You'll add your proficiency bonus plus your ability score.
Okay. So
if you're trained in it.
+6 and
Okay, your dex save is really good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Everything else not so much.
That's pretty damn good.
I outdraw anybody.
You do.
Yep.
Do you now?
Yeah, but you can get charmed. Like
we'll see about that.
We'll see about that.
Yeah, I'll protect him.
People lost us.
You'll charm him first.
You were very unlikely to do any such thing as protect Paul.
I will charm them first with my arrow of charming.
Yeah?
Yes.
Yes.
So
applicable to the neck. Suddenly they love you very much.
When did you become?
They fall down in their love for you and their charm.
You've gone from grizzled bounty hunter to a little fat cherub called Cupid.
It's true.
Oh my gosh. Can we make Cupid in this edition?
I need to become a gnome for that.
No.
That's the
Like
problem.
a
I gotta
half
become a gnome.
A little flying gnome with a tiny bow and
You
arrow.
take a bunch of disadvantages so that you can't run on the ground, but you can fly.
You can only fly.
You can only fly. Flying is your only movement type.
Ever.
And
just like a little floating guy. That won't shake out very well, honestly. I just don't think so.
can I take a disadvantage that my character cannot see color in order to, I don't know, hit things with swords harder?
You can take the disadvantage that your character can't see color.
Okay.
I need you to hand me the green vial.
Which potion is this? I don't know. All those potions look fine to you.
It's very important. If you pour the green into the red, it won't explode. But any other combination,
You need to throw the green vial at the dragon, not the red one. The red one will heal it.
Now I think I may actually just make my guy colorblind.
Just do it.
Red, green,
like,
colorblind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So what should I take for
Just
skills?
because.
Oh my God! It's a green dragon.
I got
Wait, this is suddenly
red
way more relevant for this campaign.
more of a grayish dragon.
Do they have chromatic dragons? You know, the full brown, tan
No,
desert dragons?
they
Yeah.
have no. they
rainbow
do not.
I'm saving that for a splat book.
They're saving that.
Animal handling, athletics, insight, investigation, nature, perception, stealth, and survival. I'm thinking perception, obviously, because
Sounds
We don't
smart.
have any stealthy characters, so you should definitely try and do that too.
Yeah, you'll probably want to be the
stealthy guy.
Yeah.
one. With your leather
then I get
armor
3,
and your ability to make stealth
what's the
checks.
difference between insight and investigation?
So insight is your ability to read other people,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
investigation is your ability to search an area for clues, essentially.
I'm gonna go with.
So it would be like
investigation.
somebody's trying to lie to you, you would roll your insight
Right.
versus like, I need to find this needle in this haystack.
You would roll investigation.
There you
I'm
go.
going to go with insight on that because my wisdom score is a lot higher than my intelligence score by about a factor of 1. So
Well, insight. Well, I mean,
Also, I mean,
if we're in
plus
the pure,
if I'm character wise trying to find a guy who's hiding, he's got
It's definitely
people,
investigation.
that's true.
that doesn't
If you
And
are,
I'm
if you are the
talking-
bounty hunter.
and I'm talking to people who are lying to me about where he is.
It's very true.
I mean, both of those you could say were good skills for Bounty Hunter, but I will say in the meta talk of not having as many skills overlap, I'll probably be doing a lot of insight, negotiation type stuff.
Well, let's see what humans
for my skills
can do, because I think humans can pick stuff if I can find the right page. Too many pages.
So many
people.
So
one thing I don't know. Go ahead.
No.
I'm curious as to how your characters met.
Brought him in for grand larceny.
Who for
I actually kind of like that.
Maybe not grand larceny, accused of grand larceny, but really it was also a big, huge misunderstanding.
We were really just trying to put on a show, you guys.
We weren't. That woman
Yeah, I mean,
wasn't
I think-
actually dead.
Yeah.
It was acting.
It was part of the show. It was a story.
Yeah, I think
I gained
this
proficiency in
connection
skill of
is
my
going to be
choice.
the hardest because
I don't-
it's like the bounty hunter and like the mercenary at this point. I haven't
That
given
makes
a
a lot
ton
of
of
sense
thought.
to
Like
me,
that's
though.
easy enough to like.
Well, and it's okay if one character is kind of the vertex that knows you, right? Like
that's true.
he's headed north. You're like, why not? And you were going that way anyways, right? So that
Well, and I also, if we're doing the caravan thing, that I was more of a traveler
Right.
with the caravan than a member of the guard.
Right.
Whereas these two maybe
are
people
actually
who were
actively
specifically
guarding it.
hired by the
Right.
caravan organizer to
Absolutely.
fight. Where
Right.
I am not.
I guess I will
Until- Dun dun dun.
What's
The moment of
Can
Because
you give
of
me
reasons.
Yes.
athletics and acrobatics? What are the differences between the two?
So acrobatics is feats of dexterity and skill. It is balancing and tumbling.
Mhm.
Athletics is jumping and swimming.
I'm torn.
it's balancing across a rope like a tightrope
Yep.
versus climbing up a rope.
That is exactly true.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would do athletics for a ranger
Yeah.
bounty hunter. That makes more sense to me.
Yeah, I got
But no, I was gonna to.
That works. And then feats. I gain a
I think
feat
it's
of my
very
choice
interesting
as
to
a
see
human.
some of the different styles of how people are creating characters. Like, I mean, I may be going a little bit more min-maxy than I normally do,
Mhm.
but like versus Tito, where Tito's talking about, oh, this is how I want my character to be
Right.
connected and stuff like that, and that's not to say that I think any way is wrong or right, but I hope that's super helpful for people who are watching. Like,
Yeah.
to see, like, there are different ways that you can make characters. You can think about characters very tactically as to, how are they, what are their abilities? What are their abilities going to be for the party?
Right.
Or you can think about characters more in, organic sense of like, this is a person and I need this person to have, a backstory and, this is how they connect to this campaign.
Absolutely.
I've
Yeah.
had people at a table who, I basically have to write down the numbers because they almost can't even understand
Right.
them.
Yeah.
And are just only concerned about the story, motivations, and everything that's going on.
Yeah,
Where I've had
absolutely.
people who ignore the story and their background completely, and as you say, min-max or try to get the best possible combination.
Yeah, and I
of
usually
the
think like a
campaign. So-
balance of both is appropriate unless you just have a group that is predominantly one or the other, and then you can kind of tailor either. A lot of times, I think the best method is to tailor what system you're playing.
It's very
towards
true.
it.
Yeah.
There are definitely systems that are favor one or the other, and so if you're, you have a bunch of players that all they really want to do is punch monsters and take their stuff, and do that as efficiently as possible. Maybe D&D might even not be the best system for that.
Very
But,
true. Very, very true.
Very true.
In mini groups. I'm kind of acting out the classic DM role of just
Mhm.
asking questions right now. It's pleasing to me.
And that's really important.
Yeah,
What do you?
I know
think
a lot of
about
GMs
your
who have
stats?
done stuff just like, all right, show up with new characters next week, and
Yeah.
I think that always almost is a disaster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, and this is what you said in the introduction, like people don't get to see this part of role playing very
Yeah.
much, and sometimes it's done not as a group, but individual sessions with
Right.
the DM
Absolutely.
before, on the phone or on even just chatting.
Yeah.
On IM things, But
yeah, a lot of people who play online do it that way too,
Right,
right?
yeah.
They send some emails back and forth, or they do it.
Oh, here's the ability
Instant
scores are
messenger
rolled
chat.
up.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, but there's something I think really vital about talking about the goals of not only the party but the adventure as a whole
Mhm.
Yeah.
beforehand, so that people don't go in
Yeah.
with wrong expectations or
They don't make a character that doesn't work, right?
yeah.
This
Yeah,
is
and that's
the-
kind of what we were talking about earlier. Is a grounded character is gonna make a lot less
Right.
sense for this campaign.
What do you think, Paul?
I'm just being patient.
what you wondering.
What do you need to know next, Paul?
Well, we're on to like feats and like traits and stuff now.
Okay.
So
Okay.
favorite enemies. What kind of enemies do we think I'll be fighting or facing?
What is you?
Character-wise, I'm thinking human is one of them. As a bounty hunter, clearly, I'm
All right.
after outlaws. So
Yeah.
some of them are going to be human thieves.
The most dangerous game.
dangerous game.
Man.
Turns out it's man. So regular old human.
That's pretty brutal, and I think that's really interesting because that is a path that leads to evil very quickly, right? Yeah. A lot of people, anyone with their own race as their favorite enemy, is generally evil. So I think that's going to be cool character tension for you.
I'm going to be riding that line.
Yeah, you're going to have I mean, I think you're going to have to really actively do that, play that character too.
Ride that line.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, because favorite enemy is like you hate these.
Not necessarily hate. You know how to hunt and kill this, right?
Yeah.
Like you are good at it. Which sounds amazing from my end.
What's your character?
Halfling.
And you're a half elf.
I am a half elf.
So I halfway.
You half.
Yeah.
I halfway.
favorite-
He is half
favorite enemy.
He is half my favorite
half
enemy.
favorite.
I would argue that I'm alien to you. You don't know where I'm gonna go or what I'm gonna do.
I would agree.
The
with
heart
that,
might not
except for
even be in the right place.
The human aspects of you are gonna leak through. You don't think that.
You
but
trust your gut 50% of the time.
Yeah.
you do, yeah.
60% of
Are
the
your
time, it
brains
works
and
every
lungs
time.
and major arteries still roughly in the same area? Okay, we're good here.
I don't know.
But it's also knowing behaviors too.
Is it actually
Yeah.
human or does he get humanoid or something like that?
I get 2 human. All right, so here's
Right.
how it works. I choose a type of favorite enemies: Sins, beasts, celestials, constructs, dragons, elementals, fays, blah, blah, blah. Or I can select 2 races of humanoids,
Right.
such as gnolls as orcs as favorite enemies.
Oh, okay. So like,
So I
if you
either-
go with something super generic, you basically get double. Or if you go with something very specific,
Yeah,
just
if you
the
pick
one.
something really broad.
yeah.
Right.
So
I'm
you
gonna
can't
go,
just pick like humanoid and be like, now I'm good against like all of these different things.
So I'm gonna
Right.
pick the double and go with humans as one, and then I need to figure out what
Give
kind
me
of
a second. Yeah.
like
Elves.
Orcs isn't a bad one. I can say for this campaign, the races associated with dragons like kobolds are appropriate.
You could also be what's the second most populous race in Forgotten Realms? I mean, if he's pure bounty hunter and
yeah.
he's just the first one would be the most populous race. And then
it could be something like elves or dwarves.
Yeah.
Orcs.
I'm gonna go with
So
orcs.
orcs is very appropriate, right?
I'm gonna go with orcs.
Yeah, because orcs are
There's an orc who's
It's often orcs.
there's an orc roughing up farmer for money. Got an extortion ring.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go in and
that's not an extortion ring.
Are you playing Dog the Bounty Hunter? Like,
I am the dog, the big dog.
yeah.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
Every time
you are now.
Yeah, now you are.
It just happened, so
Eh,
I hope you're emotionally
Not
prepared.
happening.
It is in your Twitter handle.
You don't know how
Oh,
much
you
yeah.
indeed.
You play Dogma?
No, Dogma is my half health ranger from Pathfinder who hates his dad and has favorite enemy as
Oh.
elves. And every time someone makes him mad, he's like, "You remind me of my dad," and then he kills them. Usually because it's combat related.
Sounds like a really damaged individual.
Yeah, his dad was always
Yeah.
asking how his day was, and he just didn't understand. Tried taking him out to ball games and museums and stuff. And he's like, "This is not me, Dad. You don't get it. Ever since Mom left, you've been a dick."
Paul, how's your relationship with your actual parents?
Actually, really good. I talked
Okay,
to my mom
that's
last
very
night,
that's very
you know.
refreshing to hear
That's
because
healthy.
like
Talked to my mom last
That's
night.
healthy.
I was
you
You're
also
doing good,
brought
my-
up like parent
stressing.
hating with the barbarians.
My dad,
And,
my
True,
dad's
you
doing,
went right there.
my dad's doing more work at the YMCA, volunteering and running swim lessons and all that. They're going really good. I'm really happy
That's
for
good.
them.
That's
They're
okay.
enjoying retirement. I'm very happy
That
about
is good.
that.
I am
See,
still scared.
What's
Still very
funny is
scared.
that that's like the first thing people ask me whenever I mention Dogma, my half elf ranger. It's like,
It's really fun.
"Do you love your parents?" I'm like,
Do
yeah,
you
I
love
talk to
your
them all the
parents?
time.
Do you love your parents?
When was the last time you? When did you stop beating your wife?
You okay, buddy?
It's like a loaded question. Right?
Yeah. It is a.
Why do you hate dogs?
All right. So what is the next thing that Paul
The dog
needs to
bit
fill
me as a
in to
child.
complete his ranger?
Okay,
Oh.
so natural explorer is the next thing. That's pretty simple. Fighting style is not now. Spellcasting is not now. I guess my next step would be feats. Like, where do I go for feats?
You don't have to worry about feats
Yep.
yet, right? 'Cause
No
you're a first
feats.
level character.
First level.
Humans get a bonus. Start off with a feat of my choice.
If you're
Ew.
playing the variant human,
Oh, really?
you're playing the regular human, so you got +1 to all your stats, and that's basically what you got.
Really?
Stats trump feet.
I feel like I should check that.
Now you could take one off all
Because
your
it was
stats
15.
and take a feat if you wanted to.
Roll back to
How
what
are
it
the
is.
feats
I feel like
designed?
that's not accurate.
Feats are really straightforward. It's just a suite of abilities that you pick.
Yeah, like from what I looked at and what was commonly explained is like, so if you remember like in 3rd edition how there was like,
Oh, okay.
you know, power attack and sundering attack,
case, I don't
and
get a bonus
like
skill.
cleave and all that. Like it's
So we're gonna take
these
off.
are more like a
We're gonna take off
a collection of those feats.
Mm.
So it's like I want to be really good at fighting lots of different like little monsters, and so like you just take this feat, and it's like all of those wrapped into one.
Oh, okay. So it's not like that. You need to invest in a feat tree. Like,
nope.
Right.
All right. Well, in that case, I guess I'm all set then.
Because that was one of the frustrations with 3rd was that hey, I want this really cool ability at 15th level. It's
unless
like, well,
we're dealing with things like personality traits and ideals and bonds and flaws.
So those are things for you to think about, right? And we will get to them in more detail in just a minute.
Okay.
When we talk about background.
Initiative. How do we determine that?
Your initiative will just be your dexterity score,
All right, so
or your dexterity bonus.
Yeah.
+6.
And I'm gonna make sure you
No,
didn't miss
not
anything.
+6. You cannot have a +6
Great.
unless you have some kind of.
My dexterity is +4.
There you go.
Yeah, it is.
Unless Ranger's got something else.
Nope.
I was looking at the wrong.
Great. So let's talk about the cleric then, Justin.
Woo, cleric.
This is a little more complicated than the ranger was.
Because we get spells and all that jazz.
Yeah. Everyone
But
loves
your
magic
domain
spells.
is good.
You do. Love spellcasting. You will have to choose a divine domain, which you've already chosen. You're going to be a war cleric.
Divine domain.
Well, they're doing cleric thing. I'm going to step out for a minute to
go
deal
for
with
it.
an issue.
So here you go.
Okay. What's going on?
I'll explain when I get back.
Okay.
All right, let me quickly. So, creating a cleric, quick build. Hit points. Are we just doing first level?
So you'll just get maximum hit points at first level.
So 8 plus my Constitution modifier, which is 4. So we're gonna start with 12 hit points.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, we're gonna need it.
That's actually quite good. Yeah.
Saving throws.
You have as many hit points as my 2nd level monk.
Wisdom and charisma are the ones that we get the little fill in the little boxes for.
It's true.
Skills, choose 2 from history, insight, medicine, persuasion, and religion. Which ones do we need? We probably need medicine, right?
Medicine is a great skill that someone should have.
Yep.
Especially the war priest.
Yeah, and it's definitely in character.
You're going to be taking all of the like persuasion and insight stuff, right, Tito?
Most likely, yeah.
It won't kill you. I mean, you're really good at things like insight because they're wisdom based, right?
Yeah.
So it might not kill you to play to your strengths a little bit. And having 2 people rolling a skill like insight to see if someone's lying to you is almost always useful.
Yeah, that's not bad. Although we don't have like anybody that has any kind of religion and such.
Right.
You really just get the 2 skills?
You do.
Oh wow.
The few races that give a bonus skill are a huge boon to you. You'll get more skills from your background later.
Oh, okay. So the background basically fills it in.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, wow, 2 is like seemed like way less than we had before.
You just get a couple from your class.
Well, what do you guys think? So I've got
They're working on that.
I've got medicine right now. So we have history, insight, persuasion, and religion. Anything? Tito?
Oh, I'm sorry. Repeat that.
So right now, I've got medicine. The other choice would be history, insight, persuasion, and religion.
You're the most charismatic one of us all, right?
He's the wisest.
Okay.
The wisest.
All right. Who's
Tito
the
is
most...
way more charismatic.
Okay.
I can say confidently that both religion and history will be useful skills.
Yeah, I would say I'm not going to have any religion.
All right, so we'll take religion then with the cleric.
Maybe
that makes
that
sense.
seems to make the most sense.
And I'll have to make up for
And history could be a good secondary.
Lower intelligence. All right, so we are done with that. Do you want me to pick all of my spells at this point?
No, go to your domain. See what powers your domain gives you, and
Okay,
think about those
so
choices.
We'll let everyone know how that works. That stuff comes in later.
Talk about what you get for it.
Yeah,
I'm interested to hear because I did not memorize the cleric domains.
War domain. War has many manifestations. It can make heroes of ordinary people. It can be desperate and horrific, acts of cruelty and cowardice, ellipsing instances of excellence and courage. And then there's a bunch of other stuff that I'm not going to try to read the whole thing here. At your first level, you gain proficiencies with martial weapons and heavy armor.
Okay.
So basically, like the Cleric of War is a fighter.
Right.
Like they have the full suite of equipment available to them. War Priest. From first level, your god delivers bolts of inspiration to you while you are engaged in battle.
Bolts of inspiration?
When you use an attack action, you may make one weapon attack as a bonus action. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your wisdom modifier, a minimum of once. You regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest.
Okay.
So basically the War Priest gets to take sort of action surges.
That's what, for you, that'll be 5 bonus attacks a day?
Yeah, you just get, it'd be 4, right? Because my wisdom, or no,
your
3.
wisdom's only 16.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you get to wallop some guy again.
Yeah.
And then when you need to take a long rest. Or what would be really useful for me will be like, I need to heal Tito's character, but we still want to be putting some damage on this owlbear that's chewing on Paul.
Like you do.
Or like how you assume that I'm going to let the owlbear get close enough to chew on me.
The other stuff you get, as I level up, I would get things like my Channel Divinity lets me do a guided strike. And so when I make an attack roll, you gain plus 10 bonus to that roll.
Woohoo.
You can also make this choice after you see the miss, or after you see the roll, but before the DM says it's at a hit or miss.
So you're going to get combat prowess powers, basically.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
In topping it off, you get cool stuff like at 17th level, you get resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, slashing damage from non-magical weapons. You basically just become kind of a little bit of a combat monster.
That's kind of
a cleric tank.
Yep.
An avatar of battle.
Some orc runs up and hits you with a club, like Rockthorn.
So these are
the
die. War Domains spells. So at first level, I will have Divine Favor and Shield of Faith will always be available to me.
Okay.
Third level will be Magic Weapon and Spiritual Weapon.
Nice.
And it kind of goes on from there. 9th, I get Flame Strike and Hold Monster.
Pretty exciting.
So, all right. I'm game for
bad.
this.
It sounds like you're going to be a pretty nasty customer then.
So let's go back to... So we've determined that stuff. What is our proficiency bonus? Is it just 1 at
it's
level?
plus 2.
Plus 2, okay. And let's fill in these numbers. So we have a plus 3 bonus to strength. We have a plus 2 bonus to dex. Plus 3 to plus 4 to constitution.
So Greg, do you think you're gonna be a bard who fights a war bard or a lore bard? That's war as in fighting and lore as in knowledge.
If I read correctly, I don't need to make that decision.
You don't have to make the call yet.
But I think I'm leaning towards a lore bard.
Okay.
That would have knowledge.
More of an intellectual with spellcasting prowess.
Spellcasting, but I will also, I have a decent strength, so
right.
I can also have some combat prowess as well.
Cool.
The problem that I'm battling with right now is I have an 8. I don't know where to put that. I originally had it in wisdom.
Right.
But then the thing you just mentioned of having insight.
Right.
And I think a lot of the other perception are all wisdom based.
You can always be clumsy.
Yeah, and that's why I wanted to see what cantrips I had.
Okay.
See if I had cantrips that were going to be a dex roll.
Right.
I didn't want to hamstring myself.
They'll all be your spellcasting stats, so they'll be charisma based attacks if you have attacks. Cantrips.
I guess that's true.
Yeah.
So maybe I will be clumsy. Better than being a wayfish is what I was going towards for a lower con. But if I'm going to try and wade into battle, that might not.
Yeah, if you're actually going to want to fight in combat.
We have a dedicated range.
And that dexterity, though, is going to hurt you if you want to fight in melee combat.
But dexterity is also initiative. I didn't want to have an initiative penalty.
Don't have a bad initiative either.
Yeah. So there's
perhaps
no
being
options.
unwise is the best choice.
Basically, it's insight that would be really bad.
It's kind of incisive, but on the nose commentary that most people who choose creative fields are not very wise for doing so.
I hear I was moving things around, and I'm like, maybe you're right. Maybe I should have just stuck with what I had.
Who We've got an liberal arts degree.
If you're gonna be, sometimes it's better to have no wisdom at all.
Go big or go home.
Yeah, maybe that is true. I mean,
And,
nothing else mechanically.
I've seen you play Dungeons and Dragons before, and you're going to make low wisdom decisions no matter what character you're playing.
So now I'll have at least a benefit to do it.
Yeah. You'll be like, well, my wisdom's bad. Sorry, I called down the dragon on us, guys.
Yeah.
All right. So
I figured we could negotiate with the giant snake. Why should I have thought otherwise?
That's actually not a bad.
Now I really wish I could animal handling, because then maybe I could help with the giant snake.
Always negotiate with giant snakes.
Always. Yeah,
every time.
Usually,
especially when you know Slytherin.
Yeah.
Usually from a position of height. So
Parcel tongue.
It's hard for them to reach you.
No, I mean you could get on their level, kneel a little bit, and
that snake
show them that you care about what they think.
No, that's not how you deal with snakes.
8 is a -1.
Why did it have to be snakes?
Why did it have to be snakes?
It's 16 a +4 or +3?
It's a +3.
12 is a
+1.
And 11
is a +0.
Oh, here we go.
14 is a +2.
Did you take your bonuses for being a half elf?
I did.
Yeah.
Okay. Actually,
which were +2 to charisma, +1 until I chose +1 to intelligence and strength.
Okay.
As one of our followers pointed out, low wisdom actually would work for why your character knows my character, because you make poor decisions, and
that's true.
That is a very good.
And
point.
I have to come and arrest you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of like that actually.
You thought there were free samples, but they weren't free samples. Also, you were drunk in public and your pants were off. They don't. What do you think was going to happen?
Wisdom.
I was merely performing my naked song and dance routine.
Who are you to judge art?
You are no one. I want you to berate people you see as beneath you.
Oh,
as
I
a
will.
major factor of your character.
Yes. Until I need to
I'm just gonna ask
convince
for
them of
that
something.
Already.
Yeah.
All right. I think I've got the basics of here, other than picking out my cantrips and such.
Okay, great.
So we will pass it over to our bardic friend.
Hello,
Mr. Tito.
Mr. Tito.
All right. So I think I've settled my.
You get all your half-elfy abilities down, because you're going to have some of those. Unlike the humans, you're going to have some magical bonuses available to you.
Yes.
Okay.
I did not copy those yet, but they're not as.
You've got an idea of what they are. They're not as extensive as something like an elf.
Right. Exactly.
Real quick, for the saving throws and skills, they're just basically the ability that modifies them.
Plus your proficiency.
And then what happens if you're skilled in them? Is that when you get to?
That's when you get to add your proficiency.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay. Just
Otherwise,
want to make sure.
it's just the abilities modifier.
So I start out with a handy dandy 9 hit points. Saving. What is the proficiency bonus?
What is the proficiency bonus? +2.
It's always a
at
+2.
your level. It'll go up higher as you level up.
Okay.
But for now, it's +2.
Right. All right. And it's listed right here. Hey, look at that. And so the saving throws is the ability modifier plus anything.
The saving throws that you're skilled in will be ability modifier plus proficiency bonus.
And you are skilled in
2 saving throws based on your class.
Dexterity and charisma. Interesting. So that will give me a whopping +2 there. And con is +1. Intelligence is +3.
John?
Yes, sir.
What's a good way to pick and look up spells? Someone in the chat is asking.
Good way to pick and look up spells.
Yes.
Well, the book. That is your best choice. On the D&D subreddit, some kind soul has made a database of all of the available spells.
Good. That's helpful.
That doesn't include every single spell in the player's handbook at this point, because it only includes the spells that are included in the free basic set, to my knowledge. But if you hunt that down, if you're having trouble kind of visually keeping track of what spells are actually available to you, that's a good resource. So maybe go hunt that down.
Cool. Thank you. That will hopefully answer the question of our.
There is also the assign a number to every spell on the list you have to choose from and roll a die. It's the classic choice.
Mm-hmm.
Please be sleep. Please be sleep. Please be sleep.
No,
well,
it's gonna be something.
That's the classic choice.
If you actually care that, you just pick the one you want.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I'm choosing 3 skills.
I just love in the old editions. Like sleep was the nuke. At
It
level.
was the nuke spell.
Yeah, I'm picking deception, performance, and persuasion.
Sounds good.
All charisma based. Apparently, I guess diplomacy as a skill is gone.
Yes.
And it's replaced with persuasion.
Yes.
Or intimidate or anything like that, which makes sense. I do also see that intimidation is finally a charisma skill and not a strength-based skill, which made no sense.
It is bluster and not actual necessarily how scary you are.
See,
if
you would use
if you are
intimidation.
really goofy, even though you actually are scary, no one's actually afraid of you.
What you would
It's like Arnold Schwarzenegger in Kindergarten Cop. Yeah.
Put that cookie down.
Well, it also lets you explore some different character types because there's still like the.
I just made a Kindergarten Cop reference. And
you really did.
You actually want to add to it? Like it's perfect. It stands. I'm just kidding.
Not a tumor.
It does. I'm with you there.
Yeah,
Remember
like
when I said I'd
know.
kill you last week.
I mean, there's kind of that classic.
I lied, John. I lied.
I mean, you see that scene repeated a little bit of like the person who like the little like actual like smaller in stature man stares down the bigger guy and says something into his ear and he just goes running off. You're like, what did you say to him?
Every Bruce Lee movie ever, I believe, is what they call that. For sure.
Okay, so I get 4 spells known, 2 cantrips, and I can cast 2 spells slots.
So you're gonna know some spells, so you're gonna have to go pick spells.
Yeah. And then other than that, I just have to start. I have.
What powers did you get? Special abilities at all?
Yeah, I guess the bard doesn't actually get a bunch. I think it's mostly your spells.
And it's bardic inspiration.
Okay.
Which I can give a creature bardic inspiration, which is a D6, and I can do this. My charisma modifier of times in between rolling rests, so I can give this 4 times. I can give you guys a D6, and the way it works is if you have a roll a D20, you can choose to add that D6 to your roll before the result is known. So like, hey, if you roll a 16 and you want it to be a 20, to assure a hit, you can try and buff that up with a second. And you can only have 1 die at a time, so it's something like, hey, I can inspire you, and then you can save that until later when you want to use it.
Very nice.
I'm inspired.
You are inspired. And then the rest of the starts, your second level, I guess.
Later on, kind of rolls out. So let's go pick spells for you. I'm really curious to do that.
Yeah.
You get 4 first level spells.
Ooh.
And a couple cantrips, right?
Yeah.
2 cantrips, yeah.
But yeah, that was something. So we had an interview at Gen Con with Mike Merles,
right?
And he talked a lot about there was a very set path that they wanted to do with like the first couple levels of D&D, where like you actually level up a little bit faster early on.
It's like the beginning of an MMO.
Mm-hmm. But they were very clear about wanting to kind of like give you one thing, let you get used to that,
right?
And so like for instance with like the rogue, it's like, all right, you have sneak attack. And you know, you spend an entire session kind of figuring out, oh, this is how to properly use sneak attack. And then at second level, it's like, oh, here's your new like movement power that.
Yeah.
And then you spend a little while, you spend a session getting used to that, rather than the kind of like some of the older ones where it's just like, here's all these powers and abilities. You have level 1.
Here's a huge dump of things that you can do.
Mm-hmm.
Which is always it's really off-putting for new players. But like this character creation, I mean, as anyone who's never played who's watching can see, takes, I don't know,
not too long.
10 minutes to just kind of flip through and copy down some of the stuff you like.
Down, at least. I mean,
getting the mechanics down is very simple.
Yeah,
the actual time-consuming part is just talking through who you want your character to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, so there is a cantrip on the Bard spell list called Friends, and you cast it on yourself, and then for the duration of it, up to 1 minute in concentration, you have advantage on all charisma checks directed at one creature of your choice that isn't hostile towards you.
Right.
Seems like a no-brainer. Oh, great. What needs if I'm definitely going to be playing that character. But when a spell ends, the creature realizes that you used magic to influence its mood and becomes hostile towards you.
Yes.
So the actual advantage of that is way less. It's like, hey, convince me to open this door.
Right.
It is a cantrip. Yeah.
Never use that when we're trying to negotiate prices for food
or anything.
or
really,
anything
that you actually have want to have a permanent relationship with someone.
Right. It's a short term.
That's why it's a cantrip.
Yeah,
like,
you're right.
Do they become permanently hostile?
Just becomes hostile.
I mean, they know that you
cast a spell on
you
them.
magicked them, so you know,
like,
consider how you would feel if you knew someone magicked you. Is that hostility permanent? Probably.
It basically says, and they will want to seek retribution against you.
Oh, okay. Because it would depend on the scale of the magic. Because like if
I hit you with things.
If I cast,
I think it depends on what you pulled on them while you hoodwinked them.
Yeah. Or what their nature is.
Hey, buddy, you know it'd be hilarious if you pulled your pants down. And they're like, that would be hysterical, and they do it. Like later, they're going to be mad at you, but I don't know if they're going to knife you in your sleep.
That's a really extreme retribution.
Yeah, I mean that'd be a little bit much, right?
Depends on where you had them pants themselves.
That's also true.
You know, in the middle of the imperial court, in front of all the other nobles. Yeah, they're probably just gonna
the middle of their own wedding.
Another really fun bard cantrip I could choose is Vicious Mockery.
Yes,
my favorite spell of all time.
Is this basically just insult sword fighting?
You unleash a string of insults laced with subtle enchantments at a creature you see within range. If the target can hear you, though it need not understand you, it must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or take 1d4 psychic damage.
Yes.
And have disadvantage on the next attack roll.
I think you should definitely take that one.
That actually has a
combat effect.
Combat effect. Yeah. It's a way to buff, you guys if you're fighting someone and be like, you have disadvantage.
I think you just became an insult comic.
I'm an insult comic. I am Triumph. This will be my name.
You do have experience being a stand-up comedian. We've all seen the video.
It's true. I was not an insult comic though.
You were not an insult comic. You were a stand-up comic. This is just a natural transition.
We've all seen the video.
You are now delving into insult comedian.
We need the Greg Tito headshot, I think. I think we need to
coming at you
again.
How many hit points do you have, Paul?
I have 13.
Lights.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Constitution +3. Oh yeah.
I would assume Dancing Lights is a
Ranger's D10?
It's exactly what you think it is. It's
very cool.
Summoned controllable spheres of light.
What's this about me being soft and chewy?
4 torch-sized lights. Oh. A light must be...
Yeah?
Words?
I would assume that had to do with dazing or something like that.
No, it's a utility spell. Yeah, it's
not color spray.
Just useful lights.
Interesting. No, I don't want that.
Is color spray still in the spell book?
It is. It's in there.
Is it good old color spray?
Well, there's light, message, minor illusion.
I like minor illusion.
Everyone likes a minor illusion.
I also want to come up with something that has an idea of why he was good at his
minor illusion
job.
It's pretty good, right?
Oh my god!
Just create a prop if you need it. Or something like that.
Whenever someone says you won't deceive me with your puny magic tricks, just start yelling out, "I do illusions! Yeah. Tricks are what whores do for money." Cocaine.
You should become
Will Harnett.
Yeah.
Will Harnett.
Yeah, if you are.
Dead dove.
If your character's
do not eat.
Oh god. If your character's played by Will Arnett, I'm in.
Yeah. No,
yeah, that's you have to.
That's pretty much it.
You have to pick. You have to pick minor illusions.
Who plays your character, Paul? What actor? This is a fun
Clint
exercise,
Eastwood.
actually.
We already determined, right?
Well, you've already decided Clint Eastwood.
Kind of. It also helps me always figure out my character's personality. So I played a paladin once, and someone was like, "Man, your paladin's a real asshole," and I was like, "Who plays my paladin in the movies?" I was like, "Jeff Bridges. Jeff Bridges plays my paladin in the movie." You immediately know who that paladin is. He drinks a lot and also just punches people when he hates them, and is just kind of gruff and puts off other people's.
Just in Dumb and Dumber. And,
no,
and Big Lebowski.
In the Coen Brothers True Grit remake.
Well, there's
that.
Oh,
yes. That's a good one.
That's the Jeff Bridges that my paladin is.
That particular.
Yeah, that exact Jeff Bridges. There are many Jeff Bridgeses.
That one is.
And all of them are sexy. That went. I never said that.
That only went to a weird.
That's
place.
going to stay between us. Okay.
All right. Well, for now, I'm putting down minor illusion.
Jon Bolding has a soft spot in his heart
because that seems to make
Jeff
him
Bridges. I definitely have a soft spot. Ever since the first time I saw The Big Lebowski, I knew that Jeff Bridges was my spirit animal.
All right.
I have 4 or 5 spirit animals. It's hard to keep track.
What's dissonant whispers? What the heck does that do?
I like that.
God only knows. What
dissonant
does it do?
whispers.
I'm curious.
Something with whispers.
Have you started picking first level spells?
This is now the first level spells.
All right, let's find out.
Dissonant whispers. You whisper a discordant melody that only one creature can hear, racking it with terrible pain. The target must make a wisdom saving throw. On a failed save, it takes 3d6 psychic damage.
That's some pretty fucking
it must
grim music
use
magic.
Its reaction to move as far away the speed allows away from you.
Oh wow!
So you whisper and they run away in pain.
It's Cthulhu whispers. That's what
Yep.
that sounds like to me.
That's
You hear
actually
voices, but you don't quite understand.
So
that's like
basically,
a sleepish type spell, like
are-
just getting someone out of the fight.
Yeah, one powerful opponent specifically.
You are so basically you're using whisper discouraging words.
Yeah, basically.
You'll never amount to anything.
Your parents are disappointed.
The reason this is important is because I can choose what it says. No, it's a discordant melody.
You disappoint your poor mother.
Ding, 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 ding.
I like that.
It's like Eyes Wide Shut.
Are you gonna play a horrifying instrument?
No, I think it's gonna be voice.
The ukulele of doom.
Fairy Fire is probably gonna be useful.
Yes, you
Fairy
should.
Fire is generally a pretty.
I would very much
No.
like you
Useful
to.
utility.
I've
spell.
never used an enemy with invisibility in this campaign.
Yeah.
group.
Nope. Don't know what you're talking about.
Not even one entire time.
Sleep is probably also gonna be very useful.
Yes, if you have access to sleep,
Sing them to
Did you
sleep
take-
with your
you get
gentle
cure wounds
music.
as well, right?
Should I take that?
Yes,
Yeah, I think you should
I think
take it.
I think you should absolutely dedicate one spell slot to that.
Cure light wounds.
No, it's just cure wounds.
Thankfully,
Cure
yeah,
wounds.
it's just cure wounds, and it scales up.
Oh, good.
Yeah, rather than having like cure wounds, cure moderate wounds, cure serious wounds, it's just the thing with 5th edition is you can just cast a spell as a higher spell level and
Right.
just expend that slot.
What is Healing Word though? That might be a better choice.
Healing
Healing word
word-
is the ranged one.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the ranged one that heals less health.
Stop bleeding.
Which do you think is better?
It's a lot like that.
It's a pretty it's the difference between a D8 and a D4. So it's actually a
It's a pretty serious
big-
difference. Yeah.
chunk down.
Yeah. Okay. My spellcasting modifier is pretty high though, so it'd be D4 plus 5, which is not terrible. Well, of course, the Cure Wounds would be
Yeah, D8 plus 5.
so that's still very significant.
Very true.
60 feet, and it's a bonus action as Healing Word.
Oh, so you can just like
It's quite good. Yeah.
pop it off even if you're trying to
Yeah.
do something else.
Cast another spell and then cast a healing word or something like that.
That seems more attractive to me, but it doesn't scale as well.
Yeah.
It does not
No.
scale as well.
'Cause it's
You can
D4.
cast it as a second level, and it's an extra D4.
I mean, it's enough to stabilize somebody, I would imagine.
It is. Certainly.
Just yell across the cavern, "Stop dying!"
And Cure Wounds is just straight with D8 plus
D8s, yeah. D8s
Yeah,
plus.
but with touch as a
Yep.
range.
Right.
And it's an action.
I mean, it's not a bad idea. I mean, if just
I'm gonna say Healing Word just so we have some. Are you taking Healing Word too?
no, I mean, I will definitely take cure wounds, and then I have to figure out what the rest of my
Yeah.
because I think I basically just get
If you need cure wounds later, you can also take it as a spell later.
I like the idea of him being able to just speak and be like, heal thyself.
Right.
That seems to make more sense as far as a character goes.
Cleric.
Yeah.
let's be honest here, Greg. You like the idea of being able to heal somebody
Without-
while not having to stand next to like the horrible monster that they're fighting.
That
very
might
true.
have something to do with it, and also that it's a bonus action that I don't have to stop doing what I'm doing.
It is nice that it's a bonus action.
Now, if I have a
Yes.
concentrate spell up and I use a bonus action to cast a spell, that also
That won't
break
stop
concentration.
you from it
so
won't
that's
break
also a
concentration.
big.
So Cleric, did you want to pick your cantrips? Or
Sure,
you guys-
I get 3 cantrips
you
out of my.
do. You have a pretty short list of cantrips, actually.
Yeah, we
They're
don't
pretty straightforward.
get a ton, but
Grab
we get
those
some
real
stuff.
quick. So the next step will be backgrounds, which we will all do collaboratively. It's pretty straightforward.
Okay.
And then we will talk about our maybe do a brief brainstorming on like the traits, the bonds, and the flaws, and then we'll let you guys fill in kind of the numbers on your character sheets between now and the start of our first session next week.
Got it. Okay. And for those of you guys who are paying attention to us, please do follow our Twitch channel so
Yeah.
that you'll see, you'll get notifications on when we're going to be playing again. We're going to try and do this every week, Thursdays, generally, sometimes Wednesdays, depending on travel schedules,
Yes.
3 to 6 p.m. So starting on Thursday, right? Next
Very
Thursday.
exciting. Yeah, next Thursday.
So give us a follow, and we'll let you know. And we also do other video game related stuff. Tuesdays is Jim Interactivity. Jim Strinling does his shtick with lots of fun commentary on games that are out now.
Wide variety of games, yeah.
Very wide
Yeah.
variety of games.
And a lot of really hilariously awful games too.
Oh, yes. Totally.
Which is my favorite part.
We're also going to be ramping up and doing a lot more of other stuff, but definitely on Fridays we'll start. We do Escapist Plays, which is any one of us playing a game that we're really interested in trying to get developers to come on Skype calls with us and talk about the game, play with us as well. So that's tons of fun. So definitely follow us.
And there's often free things during Escapist Plays.
Yeah,
we often codes. Yes,
we also try to give away codes. Last Friday I gave away a lot of codes for Clockwork Empires. Even though it's a little crashy right now, it's definitely going to be a really fun, interesting game when they got all the kinks worked out. So definitely try to check out our Escapist Plays whenever you can, and we'll let you know if we're going to give away codes.
And yesterday Justin played Heroes of the Storm. How did that go?
I really liked the game. Yeah. I got a chance to play it again at PAX and kind of reignited how much fun I had with it. I had to wait for BattleNet to come back online, so I was playing Hammerwatch for a little while, which was an old game from last year.
Yeah,
it's very like Gauntlet-esque roguelike.
Nice. Those are all the rage now.
I was killing bats and some bugs and picking up all their gold coins.
I hate.
And Josh Vanderwall and I are thinking about doing our Civ 5 multiplayer stream starting on Monday.
Yeah.
You know what you should do?
What?
You should add in a third or fourth character to that.
You think so?
I would love to crush.
I like the head-to-head nature of the.
Yeah, but I want to crush Greg and Josh underneath the tanks of
my
Aztec Empire.
Not that diplomacy is bad or anything, but after a while, it does get to be like, oh, you betrayed me against that guy. Now we're gonna have some other civilizations in this one, so it's not gonna be quite a dual nature.
All right, that's fair.
And have some city states involved. So
I do gotta blow one of you guys up in Galactic Civ 3.
Yes.
Once they get a little bit more of the features in right now.
Yeah, it needs to be a little bit more robust.
Well, it's the biggest problem with it right now, not to go up too much tangent, is that warfare is the only option. There's a lot of like non-economic or diplomacy or approval stuff in yet, and that's really important because that can affect whether or not your empire can run a long war.
So, very true. So cool. Yeah, we got a lot of stuff going on here on this Twitch channel, so come check it out.
Including Dungeons and Dragons. Which we're prepping for right now.
Yes.
What were the cantrips you took, Greg?
I took Vicious Mockery and Minor Illusion.
Okay.
Illusion.
We'll take Light. Just make sure we have it.
Light is going to be necessary.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of humans this time around, so you're going to need Light.
Yeah, because you can't see in the dark.
Yeah. I do have Dark Vision.
So some of the other stuff that I have options for is guidance, which is kind of similar to inspiration. I can give somebody like
that's
a bonus D4 on a roll.
That's why I halfway hate him, because he's so, hoity-toity about how he can see in the dark.
Mending lets you just
likes an elf.
fix broken things, so like a torn cloak, like a broken sword.
My heart.
Very useful.
Sacred Flame was the like ranged 1d4 damage.
Yeah,
spell.
that might be helpful to you.
And the other stuff was stuff like Spare the Dying, which lets you just touch a 0 hit point character and make them stable.
I like that one.
Bring them up to 1 hit point, or just
just makes them stable.
Yeah,
makes them not have to roll death.
You don't have to make a medicine save or anything like that. You are now stable and not continuing to die. And then Thaumaturgy was the like a whole bunch of different little things. You can make your voice boomingly loud.
Use your
so it's like the prestidigitation of for clerics.
Make the ground shake.
Your voice loud. Your voice booms up to 3 times as loud as normal. For 1 minute, you can cause flames to flicker. You can cause harmless tremors in the ground for 1 minute. You should create an instantaneous sound that originates from a point of your choice. Instantly cause a unlocked door or window to fly open or slammed shut. You can alter the appearance of your eyes for 1 minute. I think we're gonna take Thaumaturgy just because it's a good.
Yeah.
It's a good I have a cool idea and this helps me do them.
I'm going to use my inside voice.
Yeah, no, I think that there's a lot of possibilities for role playing with that one. I think that's kind of what's exciting for me.
Yeah.
And you can think about what your cleric, which one you used the most.
It's probably the
booming voice.
Yeah.
Maybe you're the commander or
really loud.
The sergeant of the caravan guard company or something.
That's very possible.
Yeah, if I remember Baldur, some of his background there was just a mercenary background.
Right.
It was like you were a sergeant and something.
Yeah, that makes sense.
If you want to be a
or you can just be like, hey, my eyes are always just like cat eyes.
That's creepy.
Like when you go clubbing.
And I guess we'll just take Sacred Flame.
Somebody scream!
To be able to
it's a lot of
try and do a little bit of damage at range.
I like how we just had a tiny rave while Justin wasn't paying attention.
We're raving.
I heard it.
Skrillex.
I just didn't.
I don't know if we need to worry about your first level spells since those can vary day to day. you may
want. Oh, can they? You get the whole list.
Yeah, you'll be able to choose those as you go and prepare them just from the whole list.
So, okay. So I guess I'll just
much longer list than the starter set. So you may want to go through those between sessions.
And figure out what all these do.
Yeah, let's jump into backgrounds.
Okay, I'll give you the book, and we can talk about.
So backgrounds were a new feature for 5th edition. D&D had toyed with rules for backgrounds for a long time, but they were never really large effects, I guess, on the game. They never really did too much, but now they're quite impressive. There's a lot of mechanical effect. There's really good reasons to have an interesting background and to play to it. So let's think about this. So when we're talking about backgrounds, we're talking about things like
previous professions,
what you did before you are what you are now, right? Yeah. Before you were an adventurer. So we have people like religious acolytes, con artists and charlatans, criminals, entertainers, folk heroes, guild artisans, merchants, hermits, nobles, and outlanders. So you're a barbarian from beyond the edge of the world, sages, sailors. You were a soldier of some kind, or a street urchin, perhaps. There's a lot of options there. So did any of those?
Performer? Anything like a performer?
Entertainer is a definite option here.
Yeah.
What's folk hero like?
A folk hero is someone who had some kind of you were a peasant essentially, but you had some kind of defining event in your life that made you decide to take up adventuring, to become a hero to the common people.
Okay.
You have an unlikely origin, but you are this larger than life figure now among many people, and usually you're the origin of stories. People tell stories about you, and you're known outside of regions beyond your own home.
All right. Do I get any? Is there any like mechanical bonuses to those?
Yeah, there are. If that's what you're interested in doing.
Well, the book said use Outlander as a default, but I don't want to use Outlander as the quick build default. So, but a folk hero stuck in my head, so I kind of want to.
Yeah. So
if I'm this.
If you were a folk hero, you would get proficiencies in animal handling and survival. If you already have one of these proficiencies, you would get just another proficiency from your class.
I like those. Animal handling and survival are both really good, I think. I would like.
You would know how to use some kind of peasants or artisans tools, have those kinds of skills. Yep. You would get some equipment.
I like that idea.
And then you would be able to kind of make clear who you are and gain the ability to stay among people of your station. So peasants would give you a room to sleep in, kind of based on name alone.
I like folk hero.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with that.
Great. So you gain proficiency in animal handling and survival.
Okay, where do I put? Is it personality traits?
Background.
Those are
at the top.
Because a ranger goes around righting outlaw wrongs.
Yeah,
that seems.
I mean, that sounds like it to me.
That seems like someone the peasants would appreciate.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
Animal handling and survival. And skills, real quick, when you're trained in them, what does that mean? Do you get bonuses to them, or
it means you get to apply your proficiency bonus on top of it?
Okay.
So let's say you're trained in animal handling, so you would add whatever your wisdom modifier is
plus a proficiency.
Plus your proficiency.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense.
So, are you interested in being a folk hero who gets kind of rustic hospitality from the peasants, or are you actually on some greater job, something more important? Recently, are you onto the trail of some serious bad guys?
That orc espionage ring, extortion ring you're talking about.
Yep, let's go with that.
Okay.
I want to be known to the peasants.
Roll a d10 for me. You want to be known to the peasants instead?
Yeah. Well, like, what's the difference? Like,
so we're talking about you're going to get a kind of benefit that's sort of a general benefit, and I'm maybe offering you something more tailored to the campaign.
Okay. I like the idea of tailored to the campaign then.
Okay. So roll a d10 for me.
Like maybe I was 9.
Oh, interesting. Your parents. How do you feel about your parents?
Good folk.
They were good folk.
They were good folk.
Yeah. Too bad about your grandfather, though.
Oh, poor man.
Your grandfather was basically on his deathbed when you left home, and he confessed something to you. He said he'd always been involved with a group called the Cult of the Dragon. He smuggled goods for them up and down the Sword Coast. Mm-hmm. Never anything bad, but later in life he started to find out about the kinds of things that these people did with the gold and weapons he was moving for them. Racked by guilt, he has asked you, since you've become kind of this righter of wrongs, to investigate the cult and undo the evils he helped to foster over his life. He told you to head north to a town called Greenest, where you may be able to find more details. He then gave you a kind of brief overview, some details on how the cult works, its customs, and you yourself, using your investigative prowess, learned a little bit more. So you're going to gain the optional feature instead of the Rustic Hospitality. You're going to get Cult of the Dragon Infiltrator.
Okay.
Cult of the Dragon Infiltrator.
You can write that down as a feature. You basically have a second identity as an initiate of the cult. Someone who wants to join it. Basically an aspirant of some kind. You know some of their basic signs and things like that. You could kind of fade into the background in one of their camps, and you have before to kind of gain more knowledge about them.
Okay. Cool.
How about you, Bard?
Well, the entertainer seems to make
fit.
The most sense.
I mean, it basically to a T describes what you wanted to do.
Yeah. What are the what is the description?
You'd get a proficiencies in acrobatics and performance. I mean, entertainer, it's you thrive in front of an audience. You know how to entrance them, entertain them, inspire them. You recite poems and music. You can act. Your dance steps captivate people. Your humor and wit is kind of well known. Your art is your life. That is the essence of the entertainer.
Okay. The only other one that made any sense maybe was the guild master or artisan.
Yeah, so you could be a guild member of some kind. So guild artisans or guild merchants are members of some kind of large country-spanning organization that is in charge of some sort of trade. For merchants, it's things like moving specific kinds of goods or by a caravan or boat. And for artisans, it's things like carpenters and cartographers and blacksmiths and jewelers and all those kinds of things.
I just want to wonder how I want to set him up as an ex-performer who now runs his own company,
right.
And is doing, the bardic adventuring
the business
thing.
Side of it, maybe.
Yeah, right. Or is he just a pure performer?
Right.
I'm just trying to. What would fit the campaign best? Maybe that's the way to approach it.
I think it's interesting if you are a person who has struck out on their own to start his theater company and kind of explore the world and learn new crafts.
Okay, so he was a performer and now he's trying to.
Which kind of makes you like more of a merchant, and I think we can reflavor your guild membership, which is your mechanical benefit, into the kind of like a loose brotherhood of fellow bards and merchant theater directors and patrons of the arts and things like that.
Right. Yeah, that's what I think. Like a guild would be not like a formalized,
but it's kind of
equity association, but
right.
Yeah, but a theater people.
Yeah, it's the informal network of patrons of the arts and things like that. I think that's great. I like that a lot. So you'll get insight and persuasion as skill proficiencies. If you already have those, you will take new skills instead.
I have persuasion already.
So you'll take a different skill that Bard would have gotten instead of that persuasion, but you'll get insight.
Insight is definitely going to help since I have a negative to that. So then I get my proficiency bonus for that then, right?
Yep. And you will get you'll get proficiency, you'll get an additional language for your travels, I think.
Okay.
And you will you'll start play with a mule and a cart. You'll also get proficiency in a tool of your trade of some kind. So whether that's like how to build theaters and you're a proficient carpenter, or it's something more like how to do the books and you're proficient with like an accountant's tools or what have you.
I want to say
or it could be an instrument.
I want to say just organization, like producing.
Yeah.
That it takes a.
I agree. I completely agree with that.
Okay,
that's great.
We'll say it's like a business leadership skill or something. and part of that is bookkeeping and all that, but also.
Yeah, absolutely. So that'll go under the other proficiencies box. I think it's in the bottom left corner of your sheet.
Okay.
And likewise, Paul, you get proficiency to reflect whatever it was that you were brought up doing before you became an adventurer, so carpentry or any kind of peasant's tools. Okay. And you'll also be proficient with like carts and land vehicles of any kind.
So you said I could pick another one instead of persuasion, which I already had.
Right.
And the bard thing is any 3 skills, so I can pick another skill.
Yes.
Great.
Any other skill? Your call.
Okay.
And let's see. So basically, you will kind of have you'll be a member of this loose network of the arts. You'll have the ability to go through the guild to get access to political figures, right? Go to nobles who are patrons of the arts and be like, hey, can you introduce me to this king or prince of some kind? You have the ability to kind of find somewhere to stay with people who are like you very easily. Though the lifestyle, you have to maintain this lifestyle to make it credible. So living for you is a little more expensive every month, right? You have to go to the taverns, you have to meet the people, you have to network, all these things.
To go to the nice tavern.
You have to go to the nice tavern, right?
Yeah.
Though you can use these connections to get stuff.
Right.
So you can call that ability whatever you please. Just write it down so you remember it.
Theater person.
Yeah,
is that
call it a theater person? Yeah.
So I want to go to wherever there was performing and
absolutely
speak to them wherever I go.
And go ahead and roll a 10-sided die for me as well.
Uno.
It's perfect. A fellow half elf, a man named Leosin Erlanthar, Leosin Erlanthar.
I'll get that later.
Good later. He's a wandering monk and a scholar. He once saved your life, and you said, "I owe you. If you need something, you should tell me." You were headed towards Baldur's Gate because you were like, "I'm going to the big city as soon as I get up north." Mm-hmm. He instead asked you to head east to a small town called Greenest, where he thought you'd be able to work off your debt to him with a small job.
It's never just a small job, is it?
It's never just a small job.
Always where it starts.
Cleric, what are you thinking for your background?
Probably leaning more towards soldier than any kind of like religious acolyte or anything like that. I think kind of liking the idea of the cleric having been part of some kind of military force, something like that. Maybe got overrun, and then that was the the time when Tempest showed his favor, and that's when his divine powers started to come into flourishing.
Right. So you don't think you're like a noble or something like that?
No.
Do you think you are more of a soldier, or do you think you're more of an outlander? Like, are you from some other culture that values mercenaries and war, and that's kind of why you're allowed to be a war cleric, like this sort of openly travel and sell your services? Or do you see yourself as part of a much more organized society?
I think it was more organized, at least initially. I don't know whether or not still with like the organized military of some sort. But I like that idea.
You are at the very least part of the clergy of Tempest.
Yeah.
In many ways, you may not be an official member, but it's recognizable. You definitely have the symbol of the flaming sword somewhere on yourself, that kind of stuff. Great. So as a former soldier, you'll gain proficiency in athletics and intimidation.
Okay. Let me mark those. Athletics and intimidation.
You'll know how to do things like operate carts and that kind of stuff. You'll also gain proficiency in some kind of gaming set, so cards or chess, some Three Dragon Ante, some kind of exotic game that gets played in the Forgotten Realms. Your call, but you're good at it, whatever it is. There was a lot of downtime and boredom in a soldier's life to learn to be good at those things.
All right.
So you also need to decide what kind of military organization you were a part of. You and what rank you were, and you will retain that rank.
Okay. So I guess we'd say mercenary, some kind of mercenary organization.
It was captain of the guard of the cookery department.
So do you think is that some kind of like mercenaries directly associated with the god of war?
No, so the basic idea I was thinking about so far was like that was what his previous profession was. It was like, happened to be a soldier, was a mercenary,
right,
and then got into some kind of spat, and it was only through the divine favor of Tempest did he survived that.
Right.
And so now he's dedicating more of his life to Tempest and going out and being the best war priest he can be for his god. Which means wandering the countryside and getting into more fights.
Why are you always getting into fights, man?
That's what we do. But like, I don't know. Right now, I'm thinking like more of like a good natured, not good, but good natured kind of character.
So, do you think that maybe you were part of a company of mercenaries associated with the Order of the Gauntlet, who are a kind of their, in theory, they're like the upper tier members, the official members are like questing knights and people who fight for good, but they fight for it, right? They're not interested in kind of subtly thwarting the schemes of evil. If they discover an orc horde, they're going to raise an army and go crush it. They're not going to have its leader assassinated. If they see a corrupt despot on the throne, they're going to invade that country.
Potentially. I mean, I was looking more at Tempest, who was more neutral.
Okay.
That would be more.
So you think it's appropriate for you to just maybe invent a mercenary company?
That's probably more it.
Okay.
I think right now the character that I'm thinking more of is more along the lines of just somebody that is neutral. So like somebody who's looking for fights and is neutral is somebody who just enjoys the act of fighting and is trying to garner divine favor by taking on tougher challenges, not necessarily somebody that's going out and being like, oh, I need to right wrongs.
Okay. So I think you're gonna think of something between sessions, a mercenary corporation, some kind, and you were either a sergeant or an organizing officer. It's kind of your call there in that.
Okay.
But you're definitely a soldier then.
That's the background you're going with?
Yep. We're going to go with soldier.
Nice.
And I think that you should also definitely roll a 10-sided die here as well.
I happened to pull one out because I noticed a trend was happening.
Did you now?
We got a 2.
Oh. I have no idea if that's bad or not. I just figured out.
I don't think it's bad.
I think it just gives you a connection to the table.
I'm trying to...
I'm going to have you roll again.
Roll again, just not appropriate.
You also have a half-elf friend who is a monk.
Or it just didn't make any sense for, like, a... 1. Roll again.
Yeah. We're not going to double up.
Got to come up with a different one. 8.
You got to use the random table like it's intended.
Oh, yeah.
You know the battle you lost your company in?
Sure.
Fucking dragons.
Oh. Yeah.
Dragons destroyed everything you had.
Oh my god.
All right. So now it's like Tempest is what saved me from this battle.
Yeah.
So the only way to truly praise Tempest is to go fight some dragons.
You also have a brutal scar given to you by a dragon.
All right.
It's your choice what that is.
All right, I'll think of something good.
What kind of dragon was it?
That's the real call, right?
Yeah.
What kind of dragon?
That's
going to determine the nature of the scar.
Are you like the Hound?
Maybe something like that. Yeah.
Should totally be the Hound.
Although I'm still fairly charismatic, so it's
the Hound
probably
is actually fairly charismatic in my opinion.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. Everyone watching that show does love the shit out of that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was just thinking that one scene where it's like with the chicken conversation. It's like, do you have any money to pay for it? Nope. But you're gonna give it to me anyway.
Yep. That's what we call an intent.
That's pure on charisma.
Yeah, so that's your choice. You should think about that and kind of make that decision.
Trying to figure out what would be a good scar. Does it have to be just anything, or does it have to be visible?
It doesn't have to be visible. I mean, it can be a subtle limp. I mean, it can be nightmares, right? Like just any kind of scar from...
Oh, so it doesn't even necessarily need to be a physical scar.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be, but it has to be kind of gruesome, right? Mm-hmm. Like it needs to be a bad thing that's
something
happening
that
to you now.
It reminds you of I really don't like dragons.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And I think it's worth noting that I think your mercenary company is now almost wiped out. I think that's what happened to them. So they've kind of scattered throughout the Sword Coast to try and rebuild the company. Mm-hmm. So you're going to run into people from this group all over the place.
Okay.
Now. on your quest to just kill as many dragons as you can.
Kill dragons for Tempest.
The company learned that scattering is actually a better
tactic
than just to clump up together. Right.
Yeah, they weren't into the cones of fire breath. Didn't turn out so good.
Could I see the player's handbook for choice of languages?
Yeah, certainly.
And do you get your ability modifier for number of languages that you get?
You get a couple abilities from you, or a couple languages from your race. That's
okay, so it's a racial thing.
Yeah, it's a racial thing.
And number of languages is also a racial thing, or is that
a? Number of languages is also a racial thing, and the languages of the Forgotten Realms are actually all listed in the human entry in here.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're wondering what languages you should speak to be appropriate to the Sword Coast, they are in the human chapter right there.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I got my languages based off my favorite enemies. So I speak Common and Orcish.
So the other thing that's left to do are everyone's personality traits, flaws, bonds.
Mm-hmm. And my such. Flaws I love too much.
Okay, well, that's out there now.
I care too much.
Is there something you need to say to the class? Or that's where I thought I was going.
We love you too.
I thought I was going there. That's fine.
Group hug.
No.
Get on this. Come on.
No.
Wait, so the languages are all these different cultures?
Yeah.
I see.
All those different cultures have their own languages.
Interesting.
Oh my God, Mike Merrill's tweeted us.
Yay!
Does he love us?
Hi, Mike.
Does he even love us at all? He's probably making fun of us actively.
Look how long they're taking to make characters.
The whole point was that was supposed to be easy.
Nothing is easy for us.
Yeah.
Nope.
So we certainly have the option to roll randomly for things like traits, flaws, and bonds, but I think you guys would probably prefer to flush them out yourselves.
I would like to.
Yeah.
I would love to take a look to see what flaws my flawless.
I think it would be funny to roll first, see what we get.
I'm happy to do that. If you guys want to do that?
See if there's anything that's like, well, that really doesn't fit with what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I like that idea.
Okay, stop talking about dick butt in the chat, guys.
I'm glad that's immortalized in the stream forever.
Thanks for saying it out loud, Paul.
You're welcome.
Way to go, chat.
It had to be done. They were seriously going on about it. It's
okay,
like, come on, guys.
Well, I'm pretty interested in where this is going now. I've got a couple, as the DM at least. I'm just going to model on the camera. As the DM at least, I've got good leads. I know that Justin's character hates dragons. I know that Paul's character is kind of mysteriously tied to the cult somehow in maybe ways that even his character doesn't fully understand, but also has this vendetta, right? Like this kind of sacred charge from a dying relative.
Gotta right the wrongs
to kind of undo what his relative has done. And I know that the bard, Tito's character, has this association with a person that I think he doesn't fully understand, right? He just kind of has this debt to Leosin, whoever Leosin is, and she's got to discharge it so he can sleep at night, right? So he can feel good about himself.
Yeah. Now, is the person perhaps Leosin is one of the reasons why I know my abilities as a bard?
I think so. He's the kind of person who would be a mentor and would teach you how to awake. He's a Dungeons and Dragons monk, not like a wandering religious monk. So he's a martial arts badass who knows kind of to channel his inner power. I think he's definitely the kind of person who would have helped you learn who you are and how to execute your abilities.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So
if you want to write him in as a little more of a mentor, even that's very good.
I think so, and I think that the way he saved my life was, I was getting mugged or something like that.
Okay.
In where my hometown would be.
Right.
A larger one like Baldur's Gate or Waterdeep.
Yeah, really absolutely. Cool. I think Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, and then saved my life in that way, and then it was like, oh, maybe you should actually try to defend yourself.
Right.
And he taught me how.
I like that.
Right.
I like that a lot.
Someone in the chat wants to know if his scar could be an actual piece of dragon bone that's embedded in him somewhere.
Like
a claw.
Yeah, that's definitely an option. Yeah, if you want to have some kind of.
Just have like a giant claw sticking out of your head, like in Metal Gear Solid, where he has a lit shrapnel just sticking out for no reason.
Oh, that.
Just you're a dwarf with this giant piece of claw.
No need to go full Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, I mean, it was either going to be like the kind of the typical
never go full Metal Gear.
never go full Kojima. All right.
What I was thinking so far was either you do the typical you lost an eye to it or something like that, or the other one that I thought was kind of intriguing was so it's not something that's visible, but just across your back, you just have just 3 giant scar gashes, and it's very clear that
a dragon just kind of stepped
something
on you or
monstrous, just almost killed you.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I'm writing that down. That's true now.
I like the claw sticking out of your head idea.
There's no reason I would know Draconic. What am I doing?
Draconic is the language of magic in Forgotten Realms, so I mean.
Would I have learned it?
If you were looking to learn ancient songs, you would know languages like Elvish and Draconic, right? If you were interested in ancient theater of any kind, those are the languages you would know.
Okay.
That would certainly be an appropriate language.
Okay. That seems like the most common out of the exotic languages that are...
Yeah.